Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. The public budget hearing is called to order at 6 p.m. You'll have to excuse me, this is an agenda that we only use once a year, and so I get into the habit of how our regular agenda is set up and I forget where I am. So I apologize if I stumble over anything. It is appropriate to select a chairperson for this annual election and budget vote. This chairperson will conduct the meeting and will open and close polls on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. The Board of Education would like to appoint Stacy Black as the annual meeting chairperson. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second? Second. Thank you, Tiana. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Ms. Black, the meeting is turned over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Chairman. At this time, I will present our Board of Education members. From your right to left, President Stephanie Champney, Vice President Christine Woodall, and Trustees Thomas Tasler, Tiana Mosman, and Molly Willis. And missing tonight is Eric Scully. Our school district superintendent, Joanne Sexton, will now review the 2024-2025 school district budget. Questions will be answered at the end of the presentation.
What about these two guys?
Yes.
Inductions?
This is our school business executive, Zachary Wooder, and our assistant superintendent, Shannon Shaw.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Hey, welcome everybody. We're gonna get started with our budget hearing, and as was just stated, I'm gonna go through the slides here and explain everything, and then we'll have time to discuss. This is a wow. Okay.
This is your big mistake. What I got to.
All right, as every year, we have a mission and a vision that underlies all of our planning and all of the work that happens within the district. Our motto in our district is "Where kids are the point." Our district mission is to provide an excellent education, ensuring that all children maximize their potential, become contributing citizens, and pursue lifelong learning. And our district vision is to be a community of excellence achieved through a commitment to high performance, morale, and involvement. You can see some of the wonderful pictures down below of people working hard to make sure those things happen in our district. When we look at developing budget goals each year, we focus on a few things. One is obviously our main mission, which is to educate the children of our community. Also, though, we have to think about building a sustainable budget. So we don't just think about this year, but we think to make sure that we're planning a reasonable vision forward, so that even when times get rough for the district or in the state, that we are going to be in good shape. We have that obligation to the community. We also develop a reasonable tax levy, because obviously we realize that taxes are a burden on our community, and that we need to be very clear and very wise with the money that we ask them to contribute each year. 2024 and 2025 proposed budget is a pretty significant increase from last year. We're going to talk in detail about why that is. Last year's budget was $41,300,000. This year's budget is $46 million and almost a half. And that's a sizable increase of $5,132,000. Locally, the impact on our local taxpayers will be at our tax levy limit, which is 2.95, and that generates $255,000. 1% tax increase in our community gets us, it changes a little bit each year, but this year it would be $86,399 in revenue for the district. Revenue projection, so we get revenue to run our school district from a lot of different sources. We talk about this every year, but in New York State, schools are funded partially locally, but largely, depending on the wealth in the community, by state taxes across the state. And the reason, yeah, so it's a tax money either way. But the rationale there is that across the state, New York wants to guarantee that children, no matter what community they're in, they have the right to a fairly equitable educational experience. So if they live in a community where there's not like a lot of industry and a lot of wealth, then there's a lot more state money that comes into the district, and that's true in Whitney Point. So state aid, all resources, you can see the top line there. Last year we got $31,643,000 from New York State, all sources. And then this year that has gone up almost $3.5 million. Other revenues are all sorts of things that we get. Some of it is reimbursable aid, some of it is aid from other things that we're going to talk about more in the following slides, but that has gone up $15,000. Also, we have an appropriated fund balance, and those are funds that when we think about when we plan for rainy days or to make sure that we have funds when we need them, we have a fund balance that we set aside so that when we need those funds, we can use them. And that from year to year, we use different amounts. Last year, we used $500,000 out of a fund balance, and this year we're using over $1 million. Use of reserves, that's another place where we have set aside funds that if we need to, if our facilities need attention, if some kind of catastrophe happens and we need to take care of what's happening within our district and we have to spend money that we didn't plan for, we have reserves for those instances. And this year we're having to tap into that reserves in a pretty large way, $867,000. So the tax levy, as I said, it's that 2.95% generates $255,162. So our total increase from year to year, as we saw in the previous slide, was just over $5 million. So you probably want to know, where is that $5 million? So we're going to get to that, but I'm just going to review very quickly again. In Whitney Point, this is the breakdown of where our funding comes from. So 75.4% of our budget comes from state funding. Some of it is in foundation aid, and if you paid attention to the New York State budget recently, there was a lot of talk about foundation aid, and there's a lot of back and forth in Albany about what how much of that formula was going to be funded this year. And there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen next year. They're looking at reworking that formula. And then we also get state aid from a number of different things. We get building aid, like right now when we're having a building project, we pay out money and then we get money back at a very high rate. We get transportation aid, we get BOCES aid whenever we collaborate and we share services with other school districts through our BOCES, we get aid back on that. And then we get categorical aid for things like textbook and software and hardware, all that fund our budget. We also have, as I mentioned, some money that we set aside in fund balance, and then our total tax levy right there, you can see it this year is 19.13% of our budget. So by component, there are different components to our budget. There's the administrative component, the capital component program, and then that's the total in the last column. The top line on the bottom there is last year, and the middle line is this year. If you look, we've had some increases in different areas, but capital is considerably bigger this year than it was last year due to our building project. And so you'll see a pretty significant jump when we get to that slide in the capital expenditures. Those capital dollars are money that we're going to pay out this year, and they sort of inflate our budget this year, and then we get reimbursed next year from the state. The administrative component, people often think, well, that's a bunch of administrators, but it's actually lots of different things. It is salaries and benefits of administrators, supervisors, and support staff. but it's also public information services, central printing, so all the printing that, goes out for students to use for their learning, legal services, insurance, Board of Education administrative costs, financial operations, and then also we work through BOCES to make sure that we're maximizing the cooperative things that they can access for us, but it also means that we have to contribute to their administrative and capital costs. So all of those things fall under the administrative component of the budget, and we had an 8.64% increase in that area. Many of these things, as when we talk about salaries and we talk about benefits, things like healthcare, in all these different parts of the budget, things like printing, all of them get more expensive each year, just like in our personal lives, everything gets more expensive every year. The administrative component is broken out this way. You can see that the Board of Education, we have had to have a number of trainings and consults in this last year, so that has increased the amount of money that the functioning of the Board of Education has cost us. Central administration is the second line there, so that's everybody out in the district office. Finance, we have services that we consult with to make sure that we're financing and managing our finances well and in an informed way. Legal and printing, as I mentioned, has gone up considerably. One of the areas that is hard to predict, but sometimes when we have not a lot of new employees, we have to do more training with them. And so in some of these lines, we can have significant increases, like in the curriculum and development area this past year, because there's been a lot of new teachers. We've had to have a lot of new training. Supervision, regular school, supervision, other, both of those areas, again, have to do with the training and support that go in for changing faculty and staff. And then employee benefits, as you can see, have gone up significantly, and those are things that we don't have a lot of control over.
What are special items? You skipped that one.
Yeah, so Zach, you want to speak to that?
Yep, so,
It's on there.
yeah, that line specifically, BOCES, so our BT BOCES, they don't have the ability to generate taxes to function. So the way that they work and run is that their administrative and their capital components, each school district pays a portion.
Okay,
So
that's
that is
what
actually
special
the
items.
BOCES administrative and capital component for us, and there was an increase because the BOCES capital is actually going through a project this year, and they haven't done a project in quite some time.
Not a problem.
Yep.
It should say BOCES. Special items is funny.
Yeah, these are like the technical SED terms that we have to present.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying.
Same thing, just a guess.
Clarifying. Thank you.
And so you'll see that in a number of places our BOCES costs, but it's always important to remember that we also save a lot of money. In order for us to replicate the programming and the services that we get through the consortium at BOCES, it would be much more money for us to do individually. So that, so it seems like a great cost, but it's also a savings. And we also, it also generates the capital component, and that's what I said, this is the one that seems to have ballooned. So it is salaries and benefits, and of course there are increases in those areas. Operations and maintenance and security, those things do cost us more money, but the biggest part of this that has led to this jump is in the debt service on buildings and capital projects. So we have had a major project going on in our facilities, lots of renovations and an addition going on our facilities. We have to pay debt on that. But then what happens, so it comes out of this budget and inflates this budget, and then we get aid back on that in the following year. So I don't know, Zach, do you want to speak to that a little bit more?
So to get it back on it, why am I paying for it? Sorry.
That's later.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah, it's really a wash again. So the way that works is we borrow the money for the construction project, $27 million capital project.
Mhm.
Right now, we're in the middle of that construction. We obviously are paying contractors monthly. So what we do is as a school, we don't have $27 million to pay for that. We borrow,
Mhm.
right? So we borrow for it over a 15-year period.
Mhm.
Each year we have so much debt to pay back off that.
Of course.
But then again, as Joanne was kind of saying, it's a wash. So we pay $1 million in debt expense to pay back that loan. We get 98% of that back from the state for building.
But originally, that was proposed as if it wasn't gonna cost the taxpayers any money.
It does not, because what we did for that $27 million project was we used 2.7 million of our capital reserve fund to offset that 2% we don't get back.
So if that's the case, why is it in there?
it's a wash, so it's on the expense side,
Then
it's
it
off on
shouldn't
the
be
revenue
there if
side.
it's a wash.
It's 32.95% change.
Right, so it shouldn't be there if that's a wash.
But
And-
again, it's not any additional, tax burden because we're getting that back from the state,
Yeah, I don't buy it.
but it's a wash.
Just, but, yeah, that doesn't really, the numbers are kind of weird.
Mm-mm.
And the playground project, that was leftover money from last year.
This current fiscal year.
Yeah, you have $325,000.
Yeah, it's basically, we're projecting we're gonna have a surplus at the end of this.
Why don't we apply that to needed funds? I looked at the playgrounds, they look pretty damn good,
Better playground than I ever had.
but why are we taking that $325,000 and getting some more slides and stuff? Why are we maintaining a bus? We just bought 3 new buses that are electric or something.
Yeah.
They were paying for
And
5
where
or
are
10
they?
years. Let me speak, please.
Right.
Why don't we use that extra funds to finish a building or do this and, or fill a gap in the budget? Why are we putting this extra money for another tire swing and a slide or something else? I drove around, looked at the playgrounds.
Yeah.
Lot better than anything I ever had growing up. We
Yeah.
had some wood and we had a swing and we had some
And a cheetah
asphalt,
top.
Yeah,
you know?
oh, I hear you.
And I look at them all and I'm like, $325,000 for playground equipment?
Yeah, it's actually very expensive stuff these days.
Why get playground equipment? Build another building out here,
Finish your pool.
you know, tighten your belt and make this budget work.
Well,
You know,
again,
we have to, I'm eating turkey, ground turkey instead of hamburger.
Yep.
And I'm eating hamburger and turkey because I can't afford a steak because I'm on fixed budget.
Yep.
And you guys want to tax the shit out of me again for this budget. And I see you wasting money. And I think it's a waste because kids, I look, they're nice. They got tennis courts down here, they got this, they got a pool. And you got $325,000 extra. And you want to raise our taxes to bring in more money so you can buy some slides and stuff. Why
that's
don't
not
you
quite correct.
apply-
I talked to respond to that.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you place money to projects?
Because again, the way that state finances work for school districts, it's very structured and we have lots of strings of how we can use our funds. So that projected savings this year, we can't just go buy this year extra equipment for a building. Again, there's a lot of different regulations behind it, but you would actually need an architect approval, state education department approval. So those funds, what we're projecting to be a surplus, which is a good thing, because, right, we're saying that we
Yes.
were under budget, which is great. The only other mechanism for those funds, if we weren't appropriating them for this specific purpose, they would end up just going into our reserves, those rainy day funds. We can't.
Right.
use-
So,
Which is
so why
zero
can't
right
you,
now.
right, so why can't you
Which
put
you
it
said
there?
zero. But
Yeah,
our
it's not how it
custodial
works, though.
staffs went up, your healthcare's went up.
We are
You
using-
should
yeah.
be able to apply this.
I'm sorry, sir, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I said Joanne hasn't finished yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I know I'm jumping ahead. I just,
Well, so, and just as a general comment, I mean, it is, it is all expensive. It's very, expensive. I mean, the fortunate thing is that the majority of we get a very high reimbursement rate. So as Zach was saying, that this entire project, which increases the facilities of our school district and increases property values for the community, is mostly aided. And so I know that it's tax dollars either way. But, there's a lot of people in our community who also feel really strongly that our facilities should be kept in good shape and that, if our students here, they should have comparable facilities to other school districts in other areas. So I understand the tax burden and we always try to keep that balance. But as Zach said, we can't just move money in any way that we can. It's very specific, the way that it was generated and the way that it can be allocated.
okay, thank you for your answer. And I'm sorry I cut in too early.
I understand. So the next slide, so the capital component, this is made up of central services, as I said, we talked a little bit about special items. Capital component, the increase, was significant this year. We just went through that explanation. We do understand that, it seems like if you have extra money, it should just go to offset other costs, but it is the way schools are funded, it's not that simple. Program component, which is the majority of our budget, obviously, it's a people business, so we're talking about teachers, counselors, aides, monitors, nurses, social workers, school psychologists, speech therapists, all sorts of specific programs for students with disabilities, students who have to attend special schools. There are all sorts of mandates within the school system, and professional development, library and media computer services, hardware, software, textbooks, student transportation, which gets more expensive all the time, and athletics and co-curricular activities. And that area of the budget had a 7.5 increase. It's broken down this way. Teaching in regular school is a big chunk of our budget, but as you can see, programs for students with disabilities is a pretty significant area. It is hard to determine from year to year. We have to project from year to year what we think our costs are going to be, but sometimes a student can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars because of the needs that they may have. And that changes all the time because people may move in and out of the community. So teaching special schools, that's also students who need to get services from special instructional programs, instructional media, people personnel services, that's all like I said, the counselors, social workers, speech therapists, occupational therapists, these are all mandated services that we need to provide for our students. Pupil transportation, again, this does not ever get less expensive. Employee benefits, another area where just even health insurance, we get jumps from year to year. And then if you see down the bottom, the year-to-year change overall is 7.5%. You want to talk about any of these with more specificity?
Just, can you expand on what's pupil personal services?
Pupil
What does
personnel
that cover?
services is, so that's counselors, social workers, school psychologists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, all those things are mandated for students to have now.
How come there's no recreation for 23 to 24, but you got 24 to 25 for $1,200? Was there no recreation this year?
So yeah, it's a very specific line that the state requires us to report out for the budget, but that line specifically for Windy Point is for the pool. So
For
last
the
year, the
pool.
whole pool
Yeah,
was
no
out
pool.
of service.
Okay.
And it seems like a small amount, but it's really the operations of like family school. So we're assuming.
Do
it's
you
gonna-
have that?
We will.
As soon as the pool
Pool's
is done, it's behind schedule, unfortunately, but yes. So here we go, Zach, this is your part. You're not-
Lucky you.
Memory on camera.
But he's good at it, so that's the good thing.
All right, so this slide's very busy.
There we go.
But I think it does a pretty good job of explaining how an individual tax bill may work amongst any one of our different municipalities in the district. So for people that are unaware, Windy Point is a very large school district, not only in our region, but in the state. We're actually comprised, or at least we have property in 11 different municipalities and over 4 different counties. Which again, it's pretty impressive. So in order to try to explain this slide the best way I can, I'm going to focus just on the left-hand side and go down, and hopefully you guys can follow me. But again, if that works, then you'll be able to project out any of these other types of municipalities that you may live in, and hopefully it makes some more sense to you. So how do we determine what an individual's tax bill is? So starting at the very top, again, one off of our current tax base for the school district, which is 8.6 million. So now what we do here is, again, let's focus over on the top left. I'm just going to look at Barker for this explanation. We're going to take the 2023 assessed value of the property. And we all know assessed values are basically assigned by each individual town assessor. And that's pretty much the property value assigned to your home. So what we do, again, we take that which is assigned by an assessor, and then the state, because they don't want to have any scenario where, you know, you're budgeting with the assessor and they give you a break that your property isn't really worth that much, so they'll make it a little bit lower. The state says, no. We know, Town of Barker, you guys haven't had a full-scale assessment in 12 years. Your properties are all undervalued. We know that because, again, this inflation, CPI, whatever, right? We know, even just if you pay attention to real estate prices, what you could buy for $100,000 5 years ago is nowhere near what you can get today. Right? Prices are skyrocketing.
You get it for 80,000 now.
So again, going up here, so the assessor says all the property in the town of Barker is worth $89 million. State says, no, that's not really right. That's only really based off of 79.5% real value. So what you do is that calculation. So 89.6 million, you factor in the state utilization rate of 79.5%. The state is basically saying, no, 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 Barker, your real true value of property within your municipality boundary is $112 million. So when we apply the state utilization rates amongst all our municipalities, again, the assessors are saying our property is worth $388 million, Winnie Point schools. The state's saying, no, Winnie Point, you really have $552 million real property. So once we have that real property value, this is how we kind of, again, get into how does that work into the tax levy. Again, Barker, real value, 112 million. We divide that by the total of all the value in the district, 552 million. Barker is going to be responsible for 20.38% of the school tax levy. So again, you can see how that all plays out against different municipalities. I assure you that it's up to 100%. So then again, let's keep going down, right? So next thing. So Barker is responsible for 28.38% of our tax base. So now we multiply that 20.38 by our levy of the 8.6 million. That's where we get that number. Barker is going to be responsible for 1.8 million in school taxes. Okay? So I hope that everyone can follow me down to what the assessed value is, the state equalization rate is, what the true value is. That's how we get what Barker's responsibility with the school tax base is. And 1.8 million is what, again, Barker is going to have for school taxes for this current year. So then we get into what does that mean with the tax rate? And again, this is why when, certain neighbors or friends compare tax bills, they try to understand why is my rate $19 per 1,000, while you live in Shenango and it's 30.78 per 1,000 of value. Again, that directly goes back up to the state equalization rates, right? So Barker is more accurately assessed than the town of Shenango. I'm going to skip to the next slide here because it breaks it down to another.
Excuse me, can you, the 79% or whatever the state does, is
Yeah.
that through the state houses and senate that says that
It's
values
the
that?
division of the state real property.
So
And
you
again, they
have
look at all the
to
historical data, they look at when the actual full scale assessments
Value and all that.
were most recently.
so you need to speak to your senator and congressman in the state house for that.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Again, you could always start with your local assessor, but they'll tell you the same story.
No, just, yeah.
I'm just
Yep.
trying to figure this stuff out. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I talked too long on it, I think.
Zach,
Yeah,
you're gonna change that screen?
yeah, to the next slide, because it has just a little bit more of an example of how that works amongst municipalities.
Okay.
It's a question.
I'm focusing on Nanaco,
Okay.
which happens to be the highest one up there,
Yep.
and I don't understand why.
Yeah, again, I think the next slide will kind of show you, but it basically means, again, Nanaco probably hasn't had a new assessment done for a very long time. So the last time Nanaco was probably done, that's what they're saying is the assessed values are way undervalued with the real value of this process, at least for tax purposes. All right, so now in a perfect world, we're gonna pick an assessed value. So let's talk about what an assessor assessed value is on a property in each of these three locations: Town Triangle, Town Shenango, and Town Nanaco, right? So the state utilization rate, here we go again. That's derived by the state. So they're saying a property in Triangle is assessed at 80% of the real value. What does that mean? You have that $100,000 value property in Triangle, the state's saying it's really worth $125,000. You should be taxed as if your property is worth $125,000. Okay? So going down the line, Shenango, again, a piece of property in Shenango that's assessed at $100,000. The state's saying, yeah, you guys are way up. You guys need to get these updated. Your accusation rate is going to be 50.8%. Because we know, again, looking at comparables, that $100,000 assessed property, it's really worth $196,000. And again, going back to Nanaco, same thing. It's, as you said, it's the one that has the lowest accusation rate. It's because, again, for a variety of factors, probably it's also been the longest time since they've been reassessed townwide. So again, Nanaco If it's assessed $100,000, what the state's saying is, again, that's way undervalued. It's been a long time. The state's saying that really should be a 41% equalization rate to get that property value up to where it should be. So again, if you were looking at pictures of these three homes, you'd be able to tell what a $100,000 home in Triangle looks like. It would look like a $125,000 home on Realtor.com or whatever real estate you want to look at. A $100,000 property in Shenango, it's going to look like a $200,000 property in Shenango. And again, a $100,000 assessed value home in Nanticoke, you're going to tell by pictures, land, whatever, it's really worth $243,000. That's what the equalization rate costs.
Some clarification on, but when a property or house sells, they raise the assessed value to the sale price, correct?
No, they do
No.
not.
They did when I bought my house.
So I guess they can, but no, that does not, it's not an automatic thing.
It depends on the assessor.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is-
okay, Town of Barker did,
Yeah.
and I'm paying, the value, okay.
Even
So they
if-
don't do that across the board?
Like.
Oh, wow.
The house I bought, I remember whenever I bought it and I went in, I'm like, well, I bought it for this price, my assessment should be lower, but it was higher on that. And the guy was like, yeah, but what they do is they bring up comparable properties, and they say, listen, whatever, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, that's what your house is.
Oh, they
It's
just
pretty
went for the
simple.
sale price on me, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and again, assessors don't want to reassess because they're gonna have 100 angry residents every single time arguing with you. So they're in a tough spot too. That's a pretty thankless job, honestly.
And something to note too, assessment and appraisal are two different numbers.
That's a good word, yeah.
I just want to make sure.
no, I
I'm
got
in the
that.
Finance
No, yeah.
industry, yeah, assessment, you want that low, you
Yeah.
want your appraisal high, just
Of
remember
course.
that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just curious because like, we're from the West Coast.
Yep,
Whatever you buy your house for, that's your new tax rate.
yeah.
Then it goes up every year.
Yeah,
Here, taxes go up, but your assessed rate doesn't.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's
the
why I
thing
think you
that's
have this
coming
chart.
up The third, Tuesday in May, if you
Yep.
want to file agreements with your, town.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to do that if you're interested.
For, what's the grievance?
Well, it depends on what town
Oh,
you're involved.
Yeah, if you
Poor
disagree
Barker,
with
they
your
have never raised it,
assessment.
they just raised the
Oh.
tax.
I'll keep my assessed value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's different here.
I'll
Learn.
keep my
When you
assessed.
say a long time since it's been.
Yeah.
give
They
me
don't wanna
longer.
spend the
When you say a
money to
long time.
reassess.
I know, again, this is the first year in the last 10 that we've had no municipality at 100% equalization rate. About 7 years ago, we had 3 municipalities all be reassessed. And I think it was Triangle, Barker, and there was another one that went to 100. But you can see, like, even over that 5 or 6 years, they've all now dipped below that 100%. Yeah, I think it was Russell Street. Yeah. So again, just going down, I think the big thing to take away was kind of how, what we're looking at, apples to apples, right? But you can see, again, depending on what town you live in, that's why your tax rate might be slightly different. It's really trying to tax you at what your assessed value is, which again, is supposed to make it an equal, field, so everyone's paying their fair share of tax. All right, so this is a slide we went over back in, I believe, March. We were looking or developing the school budget. And this is again, a good comparable for anyone that's new with us today. So basically, the real tax rate of Woody Point is $15.63. So that's it. Every municipality with that 100% equalization rate, that's basically what you'd be paying on $1,000 property. So
Comes out to a lot of
in
money.
theory, you would take our tax base and then you divide it overall to get assessed value. So again, this is our Broome, Tioga, BOCES region. And what we want to be is not at the top and we don't want to be at the way bottom, right? So what we're saying is compared to our neighbors, Whitney Point is fairly in a good group of neighbors of our neighboring districts, right? So if we want to say, well, Whitney Point, they overtax us, I'm moving to Susquehanna Valley. But I would argue and say, no, I don't want to move to Susquehanna Valley because their true tax rate is $25.66 for assessed value, right? So again, it's just kind of, a comparison of our neighboring districts to see where we're at. I like to see it, again, Whitney Point, North Valley, Levi, Lake, and Windsor. Those are all very similar districts to Whitney Point. Right? So I think that's a good thing to see. Again, I wouldn't want to show you this slide if we were up there, Susquehanna Valley, UE, Maine, Shenango Valley. But in theory, what this slide is saying is, Now, say you take that exact same $100,000 house, whatever it looks like in your head, and you put that in each one of these districts, this is what you're gonna pay in school tax, okay? So your $100,000 home in Susquehanna Valley, you're gonna pay $2,500 in school tax. That $100,000 home in Winton Point, you're paying $1,500 in school tax. That $100,000 home in deposit, you can pay $1,100
But that's on top of what you already pay.
No, that's per one.
for school taxes.
Right, so if I already pay $1,500, just say, right now, so now I'm gonna raise my taxes another $1,500.
No,
No, okay,
Yeah.
No,
no.
So we'll go next, I think that, again,
but that is a good question, because I can see why it would appear. to be
Yeah,
that
cause
way.
to me,
This-
that
and
looks
this
like,
is talking
okay, if
about
I'm
the
paying
total-
1,500 now you're telling me there's another 1,500, that's another $3,000.
So if your house is currently assessed at 200,000, Zach, if you could go back to the last slide. If your house is assessed at 200,000 today, what we're saying is you can look to be spending a little over 3,000 a year in, school taxes for what you pay.
Right, but
What?
what I'm already paying
Not
now,
We're paying
I'm paying
3,500 for less than
3,500
200,000.
now.
We live
So
in
you
Barker.
wanna raise me another
Yeah,
1,500?
Barker's not on there.
so can I go to the next slide, 'Cause I think that's.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, my apologies.
So this is actually in, I think you guys grabbed the newsletter, I saw you approving it, but this is what we're really talking about, the increase in school tax rate, right?
Mhm.
So right now, again, a $100,000 home, you're paying $1,563 per thousand, right? It's 1,500 roughly. What we're proposing is an extra 46 cents onto that. So it goes from 1,563 to projecting 16.09. So again, if you were paying $1,563 in school tax next year, it'd be around $1,609.
Per thousand.
Yeah,
Per
for 100.
Per 100,000.
Right. So again, roughly, you get a
Yeah.
$100,000 property, you're gonna be paying about $46, not 15.
Okay, then your
See,
slides aren't
The
right.
numbers don't make
They
sense.
don't,
Because our house is valued at for taxation, 185,000.
right. I
And
pay
we're
over
paying-
$3,000.
We're paying 35 or
Again-
3,600 for school taxes.
I don't know specifically your
No,
scenario,
no,
I'd be happy to
no,
talk.
I get
Yeah,
that,
it-
but
it
now
doesn't-
it looks like you
My
wanna
office, I'd
raise
love
my
to-
taxes.
I will,
another
I can't talk about something I didn't have
$1,500.
before.
It doesn't work with your numbers here,
No.
is what I'm
Well, yeah,
saying.
I'd love to explain it to you.
Okay.
You come in, call me, we'll go through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
get
that'd
your
be
numbers.
great.
But what this is again, for this school budget, assuming everyone has that $100,000 house in the district, you're paying $1,500 dollars, right, now for school taxes. It would look like $1,600 after the budget. So it'd be an extra $46 a year. Okay?
On 100,000.
On $100,000.
But when you're on a fixed income, that's a lot of money.
Yep. Again, I won't argue it.
Well, no, I know.
Thank you. So yes, we understand those realities. And so as you can see there, we are very cognizant of trying to make sure that, one, we have a sustainable budget, to make sure that the school is in good shape, but also be aware of the impact on the taxpayer. We don't take that lightly. So our budget summary, the things that are provided for within this budget are maintaining enrichment opportunities and continuing to support, to provide the needed supports to students. So we have, as I mentioned, there are a lot of special services that students are entitled to, and there's also a lot of regular academic support services that students get, and we try to make sure that we're not losing any of those. We're coming off of a period where we had gotten some recovery funds and we had paid for some special services there. We tried to do that wisely so that we wouldn't have to have layoffs or shortchange things, and we tap into every other funding source that we can, apply for grants so that it's not based on all our local taxpayers, to make sure that we can provide as excellent an education and support to our students as we can. We try to look for every opportunity to support STEAM and career and technical programs, leveraging grant funds, agency partnerships, and our capital project renovations. And one of the things that we do, as I said, BOCES does cost us money, but it also provides our students incredible opportunities and gives them skill sets that we could just not do here within our district. We continue to partner and grow all our current partnership arrangements throughout the district. So again, being a small district, And while all of these things are expensive, there's still many things that we can't do. So we always build relationships with colleges and universities and other agencies and make sure that we're bringing those things into the school so we can get more bang for our buck for our students and without having to increase the tax levy. We continue to provide our students and community with resources and facilities that are top-notch and innovative, and that's exactly what we're saying, that I understand that, you know, sometimes you feel like, well, it was good enough for me, why do I have to have these things? There are other people that feel like they want their school district to be the best that it can be for the community and for the students in it. Our facilities are very heavily used, not just by the students who are here, but also from other parts of our community. We continue to be responsible stewards of our facilities. Again, the facilities really belong to the community, and we have to make sure that we take care of our buildings and that we don't set ourselves up for things starting to fall apart or not, you know, that could be economically catastrophic. Also, we continue, so one of the ways that we do that is we have something called the $100,000 capital outlay improvement project. So we try to be strategic in doing that periodically, like replacing roofs and boilers and things before it becomes a big problem. And this year we are proposing a 2.95 increase to the tax levy. And Zach just explained, even though that's all very convoluted what he explained. You know, he does a good job in trying to make sense of this complicated tax system. Do you have any other questions?
I do, oh, good.
Go ahead. Oh, well, one, you're asking for the max increase you can get by state law. Okay.
So can I just add one thing before that? So that is a formula that is designed to, it is called the max rate, but it's also designed based on everything that the state studies about our district to say that is a reasonable tax levy that you should go out, and you shouldn't go out for anything more, given how much our costs are and all the other factors like our projects and things like that.
Correct, with that, the
Yeah,
answer is
yes,
yes.
yes.
Is the student body increasing or decreasing in the school
Staying the
district?
same. Many districts have lost population, ours has been steady.
I've been told by people to go to school here that, well, you said you're gonna do a lot of money on DEI stuff and therapy, and this, it was in your newsletter, I'm not sure exactly what you said. But this is very diverse school. There's a lot of transgender, there's kids that are for cats and dogs or whatever, and they're inclusive. Why would we have to add money to diversify more, which is in your newsletter here, that's part of the budget expansion? Are we having trouble with diversity in the school?
I
And
didn't, I don't know where you're.
maybe I misread that in this. And summer projects. Why do taxpayers pay for kids during the summer through the school? Because the schools to teach them during the school year, why are we paying for them in the summer? That should be on the families. I've never had a kid in the school. I will never have a child in the school. But it's like,
Some of that's BOCES though, isn't it?
Yeah, we run.
emojis?
Well, we run,
Okay, I'm
so
good with
we
emojis.
do, so like, for example, our high school program is run through BOCES. So students who are not successful in coursework can repeat classes during the summer so they don't get behind. And that's run through BOCES. We also run our summer enrichment program for younger students, and we run that through BOCES also so that we get aid back on that. And it is every district in our region. So again, if we did not offer summer programming, then our students would be disadvantaged compared to students coming from other districts. I understand that it's not a
No,
priority
one
for you.
question, no, one question is,
Sure.
so when a kid falls behind in school and
Mhm.
has to take summer school, we pay for it and not his family?
It's our responsibility to educate students, and with
No,
younger.
no, I had to pay for
Yeah.
my daughter to do summer school
Yeah,
every
my
year when
parents
she was
had to
small.
pay for me to go to
So,
summer
but
school,
that's on
but the school
us,
didn't have to pay.
that when they don't do well in school and they have to go to summer school, we have to pay for it and not the kid or their family, and they don't get a part-time job or anything like that. So that's on us.
Yes, that is our responsibility to educate students,
Okay.
yes. And, you know, whether,
And that's part of our.
if there was not a summer school option, they would come back the next year and the next year. I mean, it would cost us money either way. And also, summer enrichment, as I said, I mean, it's not that they're not being educated during the year, but what we found is that over the summer, there's a big slide. So we try to keep kids reading and active and engaged over the summer so that they don't don't have that summer style.
No, and I'm a big
And it's
fan of
not- it's
BOCES.
not
I'm a
huge,
big fan
it's-
of
yeah.
BOCES. All my neighbors' kids went, they got
Mhm.
jobs. It's a great program. I'm not against BOCES at all. I just find that the financial responsibility has left the family and went on the taxpayers. And the burden is getting heavy. And why are not more families being involved and paying for stuff
Yeah,
that
why does the middle class
some
have to
have-
pay for everybody?
single income? I don't get a raise every year, you know, they look at, I got it 3% last year.
Right,
We're
we're on
living off this, our taxes keep going up. Kids don't pass school, I gotta pay for them
that's
to
not
go
my fault.
during the summer. That seems like that's a family thing.
Mhm.
Why should that be on our back? How much does it cost? Do you have, now, this is weird, but I've been told this. Are there kitty litter boxes in the bathrooms here?
No.
Okay, thank you. Cause I've
There's
had,
a lot of rumors that
Thank-
all of these things are happening. I
thank
can tell you absolutely not happening. And some of the things that you comment, that those things are not happening in the schools.
Well,
There are a lot of
let's-
people who like to spread rumors
They're,
about
they're
that.
urban.
No,
they
we've
become
heard
No,
this
urban
no,
from the
no.
kids who went to
the
school.
kids that were here and the parents that were
told
called in
us.
because they barked at a kid that barked at them.
Yeah,
They told
Well,
me
I mean,
this.
there are situations.
So there
where
are
it would be-
situations. I just
where,
wanna
you
know.
where Kids are just not nice to other kids for all sorts of different reasons. And so we have to keep a safe environment for all students. But we certainly, I mean, so I don't know what it is that you saw in the newsletter. We can talk about that after if you like.
Yeah,
But
just,
there's
it's
not.
I misread it.
Yeah, we're not encouraging any kind of divergent, I mean, we just need to have a safe environment for kids.
I don't care what happens. I just wonder how much money it costs to do that.
Yeah, no, we're not.
What goes on here
not my business.
is, I don't have kids.
I
I
mean, we
just
do-
don't
we do-
wanna have to
we do
spend
have,
more
like,
money on stuff.
Anti-bullying programming, we wanna make
And
sure
that's
that kids
fine.
are not mean to, I mean, that kind of thing, so that's,
No,
No,
what they
just-
choose to do,
Just somebody told us that their kid
Yeah.
who went to school here, they got barked at and
barked
she
back?
barked back and she got suspended.
and you had to come here, but,
Not that I
and
really
it's
care,
not,
'cause
not
I
a
don't
big
have
deal.
kids.
I just wanna know how much resources are being applied for special stuff like that.
we don't have any special programs related to those things,
That's
other than
good.
Thank
anti-bullying.
you.
No,
Like I
that's
said,
good.
we
No,
we
that's-
All
want
for
kids to
that.
be kind to
No,
each
no,
other.
that's
Thank
good.
you, thank you.
But I just don't understand why the middle class
Hmm.
or the lower middle class has to burden everybody else's problems. Why do I have to pay for somebody's kid going to school when I don't have kids? I've never had kids, and now I gotta pay $3,000-4,000 for a school that I got nothing to do with. It makes no sense.
Well, so what you said
Plus
before
our
about the
state
way the
taxes.
structuring of
makes
taxes
no
and how
sense.
schools are funded, that may be something to talk to your representative
Oh, no,
about.
I will
I
be.
wrote
Believe me,
it
I
down,
will be.
I wrote it down so I can
Because
follow.
it's wrong. I
Get-
shouldn't have
Get
to
your
pay.
star exempt.
Got
We
it.
have it.
I
We
got it.
have it, but it doesn't matter.
We got another question back here.
Go ahead.
I'm interested in the contingency. Does it include required reductions for equipment? What exactly would that?
So if the budget didn't pass and went to contingency budget, so, you want to speak to
Yeah,
that?
so again, there's very specific rules by the state of what you can operate under the contingency budget. Basically, there's no equipment allowed in that budget. So anything that's in the current budget for equipment line would get reduced down to zero.
Equipment, like,
Yep, so typically anything that the school would buy that's over a $5,000 purchase, so like maintenance, we have, $100,000 for, variety of equipment or repairs, things like that they might need. The transportation has equipment budget, yeah, stuff like that.
Athletics taken out too in a
Yep,
contingency
athletic.
vote.
and.
Well, we have to charge for community use of.
Like community use and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So it's more
yes,
than-
what is
yeah.
that? Give me an example of.
Yeah, so, our fields are used exclusively by all organizations. So we have, Keener League, T-ball,
Sports,
The youth sport.
yep,
All of
youth
you.
sports, yep. a lot
Do
of
they
that
pay
stuff.
anything for that?
No,
For community
they're
members.
community members.
They're
kids-
people that live here.
Thank you.
They're taxpayers, like you.
Right,
So,
they're-
I mean,
they're-
we
So
say,
we support
it's
them.
the community's facility, so we try to be as open as we possibly can with all the facilities.
How do you charge for that?
They don't.
We don't now, we don't have to under
How would
contingency.
you charge?
I'd have to figure out a calculation of how much it costs per time wise, like if if you want to use a field for an hour, how much does it cost to prep it? What's the grounds keeper's time to make the field gym use? Like, what is a custodian time allocation to clean up, that type of stuff that nobody really wants. So from the state would have to technically be. I don't, you have a question.
What would the tax levy increase be for the contingency budget?
So again, typically, say this budget gets voted down, we would be able to go out for a second vote. And that would be discussions amongst us and the board of how we would want to structure that. In theory, we could reduce that tax levy increase, we could go up to 0 to try to avoid the contingency rules or somewhere in.
Because you don't really have an actual hard number for that, right?
No,
Okay.
but the revote would be, fairly soon after, because the school tax year is July 1.
Is there any way to tighten the belt and actually trim to where we can do the budget without an increase? Have
Again,
you looked at all these projects and said, now is not the time? We don't need this. I see you had on admin, I think it was $300,000. Board member training went up $60 or $70, $80,000. Do you need that
No,
training?
No, our board, no.
No, did go up
It
that
was
much.
the admin slide. Maybe I wrote the wrong
Okay,
number
but the
down.
admin is not just the school board.
Okay.
The admin includes the school board, the district office, does it include the principals?
Well, it was training and trips and this and that.
No,
Maybe-
there's no trips. No.
Okay, but does it need to
And
go
by the way,
300,000?
we are all here. We don't get paid for this. We're
They're all
volunteers.
free.
We're we are
That's fine. I'm
volunteering our
just
time.
wondering,
It's important that you have all the facts, that's all.
are there places that we can tighten the belt, which I've had to do for the last, since COVID? I've had to make adjustments, cut my budget and do this. Isn't there ways that we can look at this and we can tighten up the budget?
Again, that's kind of the process where we've had board meetings since January, talking about the budget, how we go along the way, where we're at, where we're.
First one I got.
So, again, so we'll have to do a better job advertising that, but. we
Oh,
do
that's
have one
another
board-
thing.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
But, so
sorry.
again, this isn't something we just put together 2 weeks before today and said, this is the vote, take it, right? We've had these meetings, we've trimmed where we could. This is, anything else that we would have to really reduce would have an impact. That's what we're trying to not go through. Could we reduce some? Yeah, sure. Would it be programs that would have an impact? Potentially. That's what we try to balance all.
What's our class size?
Don't understand
I think
it.
she said.
You mean the whole, like, grade level?
No, per class, what are you shooting for? What is it?
Try to keep it 20 around
23.
23.
Because that was one of the things you said you want to get class sizes at a manageable level.
You get into situations, like I said, costs go up, so if we're gonna not have a tax increase, then something has to go. So when you do that, you have less personnel and then class sizes go up, so we try to maintain that so that there's a reasonable teacher-student ratio, so.
I thought 30 was the number they said was the best. That changed now?
I'm a teacher and that's horrible.
I don't know, I was in a class of 30.
No, I mean, that's what it
I
used to
mean,
be
weren't you?
when I was young, but okay, so it's not
Wasn't I
30,
was
you're
with
saying
We always
23.
try to say smart class size.
Well, of course, one-on-one, but I thought there was an optimum, well, before you start going down the hill, you can go up to so many students. I've been in a college class that had 500 students and one instructor. I mean,
I'm a college
yeah, they're older
professor,
people,
so it's a very
but
different
okay.
situation.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, older than this and that, but I'm just saying, it's like 30 kids in a class is normal
No,
for 50 years.
If you look at all of the districts in our area, I think you would be hard pressed to find classes that are at 30 or higher. And if they are, it will be a very large school district. And also it will be higher classes that don't need as much support and supervision. I don't think you'll find anybody in our area that has 30 kids in a kindergarten class.
Not kindergarten, I can see that, but don't you have teachers' aides, and so there's more than one person in a classroom with this younger
Some
ages, right?
classrooms, not all of them.
Not all in this
Yeah,
year,
we had
okay,
another question.
thank you.
I
Sorry,
have,
Jim.
3 or 4 questions, but when do I ask them, now or?
Is it about budget?
Huh?
About budget?
Well, the one is about the buses. Are you guys, thinking about electric buses?
We have not at this point.
No, that's a hard no for me. I'm a board member and I say absolutely not.
We
But
don't
I
have
thought
long
you
enough.
guys
Well, I
wanted
know
that
the
here.
county is going electric buses.
Yeah, we're supposed, I mean, that's an initiative from the state, we don't know how we would do that here,
Okay.
so we have not purchased any electric buses. You know, we are pursuing, we're required to do research into how that could possibly work here, but we do not have the infrastructure here. As you know, our district is huge in
pointless.
sending
I go
electric buses out on our routes. They're very long, and especially in the winter, where, you know, it would be very challenging for our district.
Well, I
And we
know
are
that-
part of the BOCE, we are part of the New York State Board of Education Consortium. And they are against them also. And so we are constantly going to our senators and our legislators. New York State is against them right now unless it's a very city situation. So
New York
just-
State Education.
New York State Education Department, yes.
'Cause, my son works for Broome County and they're getting buses, but it's 2 years away.
But in an urban setting, it would be different. I mean, you know, you can charge them and run them for a little while, get them back, but here, you know, we have 2 full bus runs a day, and you know, that, you know, the routes that our buses travel, we just can't even imagine. So we're like, as, Chris just said, there's a lot of lobbying to try to get them to back off on that requirement.
So the new buses I thought were electric, the
No.
3 we bought last year, they were just regular buses? Oh, great,
Well, and then
great.
they're building a big, thing for all the buses to be charged too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At Broome County,
yeah.
but they're getting federal and state
Yes,
aid
there's a lot
for
of
that.
aid for, yes. So there's, I mean, there are places where that can work, and there's a lot of funds available to incentivize that. It's just in a rural area that you know, we can't even begin to imagine how that would work.
It's even more,
And
knowing all about that,
Mhm.
because of the cold weather, you can't charge them when it gets too
Right.
cold. Things like that, so you have to have a building to put them in to charge them.
So this gentleman,
He still has
we
another
need
question.
to
Oh,
stop
sorry.
interrupting him.
Well, I was gonna ask about the employees' insurance.
Mhm.
I understand that now they're changing the insurance for, retirees who are over 65 are going to have to go to another plan.
Medicare Advantage plan. is
Right,
changing.
okay, and that's gonna save the district money?
Yes, do you want to see, I mean, so we got, we all do seats.
So yeah, this was actually from 3 to 4 years ago. We looked at health insurance costs for the district as a whole, and honestly, there was room for savings where we were looking at a pretty substantial increase in the budget constraints. So we had a few consultants involved, and that's where, again, it made sense to move our Medicare population retirees to a Medicare Advantage. Again, we went through those meetings, a lot of people were, you know, nervous. Overall, the plan was actually, for the most part, people really liked it. I think it's more the fear of the unknown.
Because if you work at the school, that's the best insurance in the whole damn county.
Yep.
Which is unfair.
Yeah, so, and that's part of how you make a change, it has to be benefits equal or better, right? So what we were looking at for that plan was 3 years ago, all of a sudden we got hit with, the rates were too low, they wanted to increase them 50% on us. So again, that would have been a cost on this year's budget, where again, we had a few meetings, we're gonna have a few more in the next couple of weeks, where we're waiting all the retirees back in here to explain to them what's going on. We're moving to Humana, which is a more well-known type of Medicare provider. And that's the change we're gonna do, but there is still a cost increase because of how these rates are going.
Now, are the
Also,
retirees, oh, I'm sorry.
Also, you guys share, like the pool when it gets done with Marathon. Do we get rent from Marathon or do we share other stuff with Marathon?
Yes.
So there's no
Like our
money.
kids go to the we share services with them. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna continue, hopefully they can use our facilities, like, but we also do that when our pool's been closed, we go to a neighboring district and use their pool. And
Right.
generally, as long as everybody's able to do that, we support each other and help each other and don't typically charge each other.
Okay,
But we have other programs that we share with Marathon, such as the
Ag program.
agricultural program that students can go spend what, half day?
Yep.
Half day in Marathon, similar to going to BOCES, but Marathon has their own agricultural program that some of our students are taking advantage
And
of.
the cooperative extension does some of that too.
Yeah.
With some of the, they have teachers that,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is more like attending a BOCES program, more
Okay.
intensive than, so you spend the whole half day there as opposed to having ag in the classroom come and do,
those,
things with specific
cooperative
classroom.
extension, they'll take an animal into the classroom.
Right,
And they do
right.
that with us too. They come, it's called Ag in the
Yes.
Classroom. They come here and do that.
but
also,
the
yeah.
agricultural program at Marathon would be equivalent to. Learning it, yeah. Yeah, it would be more equivalent to somebody attending.
Like they used to
program.
have ag classes here. I've been here a long time. Okay, I had one other question, and that was, how do I find out everybody's salary that works for Whitney Point Schools?
Go look on the website, on the New York State website, salaries,
See through New York.
Yep.
.com.
it's all there. Everybody's salary,
Okay,
Did you hear
including mine.
Did you hear where it was?
no,
It's called See Through New York.
SEE or
See like,
C like cat?
no, yeah, like I
See.
can see.
Okay.
SEE through New York.
Okay.
See
Yeah.
through.
If
T-
you Google that, you'll find it.
you're saying when the retirees go to this other insurance, it's not gonna save any money?
No, because again, the rates were going to be increased 50%. So this new plan, they're still going up, but not 50%. They're going up, I think, roughly 18% off of the current.
But it is a savings to go, to have a Medicaid Advantage plan in general, because before that, when you hit Medicare age, before, we were still paying the full price of insurance, even though Medicare was the primary. So the Medicare Advantage plan is much less expensive than a full plan. It's just that even the cost of that is going up. So it's not as much of a savings as it initially was.
Is any of that put on the retirees?
So yeah. I'll stop.
No, I'm just
So
curious, because
basically, every employee is involved in some group or some union of that nature. Wherever you retire at, your contract dictates what that contribution is.
I know, I'm,
Yeah, so some range fit from
I
5%.
hate when
up to
retirees
50%.
get stuck with extra after they retire.
So that's why, in the end, they were happy too, because their percentage that they paid went down too. So,
Oh,
and the benefits were just fine.
Okay, yeah,
But their benefits
I've
aren't-
been places
aren't
where
gonna be as-
retirees get screwed.
Their benefits aren't gonna be as good as the school plan. Through Humana, right?
Nope, they will be.
They
have
will
to
be. We
Yep.
have to be. We're
We
having
we basically build the plan. where they-
Huh?
We build the plan because we can't make a switch unless they're the same or better.
I'm done.
You did good.
Thank you.
Yes.
You guys do a great job.
If I wanted to play tennis, over there, is it open? Yeah, all the time?
Not during school.
After hours.
After hours, of course, yes,
We
after.
have pickleball lines on there too.
Not- Never done that.
If you wanted to go walk around the track after school hours, if the sports teams aren't out there, you're welcome to do that too. So you have a nice level, flat surface to walk on.
So
And I think our school is very fortunate because we have the fairgrounds and we have the Catholic Church to park.
Yeah.
My grandchildren from my one son have to go to Montrose and they go way out in the boondock someplace to play sports. Whitney Point is very lucky in that concern.
Again, it's taking advantage of partnerships.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And again, that's why people that might not have anybody in the school district, this is why some of us moved here, this is why some of us stay here when our children are gone after here. That it's a good place to live, and a
Yes,
big part
it
of our
is.
community is the district and all of the facilities, so. And I don't know, and people who don't think it's a good opportunity, a lot of them leave. And if they can find a better place at a better price, then more power to them.
Yeah.
I just think it's time to tighten the belt a little bit. The economy's so bad right now, and they say it's good, but it's not. You go buy a bag of groceries, and seeing the projected increase and everything, it just seems like the wrong time. It seems like you can sit down and you can grind it out and this, that, or whatever, get rid of this, and maybe you can't, or maybe these, because the economy's bad, the expenses went up, but it just seems like the wrong time to raise taxes with the state of our economy and how much it costs. Do you choose to go to the gas station, and mow your yard? Or now I mow my yard every 3 weeks instead of every 1 week because the gas costs too much.
The bees
You know,
love you for that.
That's what I'm saying. These are all
And if
things
more
that are,
people do that, there'll be less of a need for electronic buses.
yeah, and I'm not into electronic anything. I'm just saying it seems
We
like it's a
understand
belt tighten
we understand
time.
your pain, sir. We're all in this together. We're all
Yep.
middle class people just trying to get by every day. too.
I'm just saying, it just seems like the wrong time to raise the taxes when everybody is struggling right now in this area. This is a semi-depressed area. There's no manufacturing. And it's hard, and there's a lot of fixed
But the
income
state
people
takes
here.
Consideration of that.
They give us some money back, but I'm still saying that all these things, they're hitting the people that can least afford it because Social Security don't go up very much.
We understand.
And you're living on fixed income. I look at that Manistee auction site in Lambert,
Yeah.
yeah, those two. They have 3 to 10 houses every quarter, they're tax lien sales.
Yeah, for school tax.
And for just any property, and it's like, I've never seen so many in the area ever, even I lived in California, this and that, I've never seen that many. And now it seems like they're going up, and then you're gonna add another 2.9%. And I'm thinking there's gonna be 2 or 3 more houses on there. And then when they sell, they lower the value, so you lose the tax base, but I see the impact and it's scary. And I'm just wondering why we can't just tighten our belt up a little bit and see where we can take, some money off here or this or that. It's easy to throw out a tax thing. You're asking for the max. And it really affects a lot of people in the area. And this is a beautiful school district. And I know kids has went through it. BOCES is the greatest thing ever. I wish they had that in every state in the country, because I know 3 guys that went through BOCES, now they got jobs and they're not very bright. And they got great jobs. But that's the greatest thing about that, but
I started school here in 1952 in kindergarten,
I love it. And you're still here.
and I'm still here.
I love it. Thank you for saying.
Started in
Yes,
1964.
this,
I started in 19.
I have a question.
and
So,
I didn't have all the services that they have now. It's wonderful.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
And a lot of the services, not that we wouldn't supply them, but there are a lot that are mandated by the state of New York that we can't cut, that we can't do.
I gotta talk
And-
to the state on
Yeah,
that stuff.
and we can't, there are a lot of places where we're not able to cut without really
Right.
hurting the district. But I do hear what
They're
you're saying
different
in
this
terms
state.
of,
Yeah, we got that.
but I can tell you that that is something that I think Zach spends most of his life doing, is looking for economies that we can make.
The king and no.
The buses that you sell at the auctions, what happens with that money?
So it basically comes in at, you had a slide for other revenue, that's that
That's,
category.
yeah, what comes in.
Yep,
Yeah.
sale and disposal of assets.
Right.
A lot of times, by the time we're done with the buses,
They don't make much, I know. I
Yeah.
saw, I go to the auction, they don't make much at all, but they're
Just
not
get
good
rid of 'em.
buses.
so I have a question. So this goes to vote on the 21st, right? So if this gets squashed, say by 10 people, right, it gets squashed. Is that it?
No, so that's what he
No,
said,
they-
we
they
would have
spoke-
You have to do it
reassess.
again?
We would come out for another
Second
vote. We'd have to start to make some cuts.
I see.
because we can't just say, okay, if you've turned this down, this is what our budget's gonna be. Either whichever direction we decide to go in, how we're going to restructure, we have to put that out to,
Right, so, okay, it gets squashed, then you guys come back, and then you start lowering the percentage, basically, of the tax increase?
Not necessarily.
No, they just.
We-
So
put it
they're
out
just
again
gonna
for
put it
another
out
vote.
again as a vote.
Again, we would have those discussions of how we want.
Okay.
We've not made any decisions or
No, no,
had any
just
conversations around that because
Throwing it out there.
truthfully, we've had to do that before. And it's gut wrenching and the community was happy that they had voted it down.
Mhm.
Going out for a second vote is expensive, and so we opted to go with the contingent budget, which is at a set level. And the community was livid for the whole year because they didn't have access to all the things that they wanted, and like,
Right. No,
So-
I was just
yeah, no,
curious.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, we try not to think of that beforehand. If it happens, then we will sit down and we will look at what our options are and decide what we're going to put back to the voters. Whether it's contingent, zero, same, whatever. We have a lot of options, but we can't sit down and say, yep, if you wrote it down, this is what's gonna happen.
Is this a permanent increase?
No,
This is a 1-year increase?
Yeah.
So it's
Goes up.
just for
They
1
do
year?
it
So, and it goes up every year.
Every year we have a budget review, every year.
So this 2.95 is for this tax
For
year.
2024-2025 school year, yes.
Okay, so next year,
There'll be another.
that will
increase.
drop off,
We did
No.
0 2 years ago,
Oh.
1 last year, and 2.9 this year.
right, but
So
so,
it averages out to about 1.25 the last 3 years, so it
If-
hasn't been bad.
no, I'm saying this number here will never go away.
It's added into that.
It
tax
gets
rate.
added.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
It's added.
like,
Yeah.
like the library thing, they snuck through COVID, $67 a year. Yeah, I got that one. Okay. Thank you very much for being patient with us, and
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff.
We appreciate you.
This is
And
new
we
stuff.
appreciate your questions and your concerns. We know that they're real. So just, officially, so the budget proposition is up here. Shall the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District be authorized to appropriate through the budget in the sum of $46,499,802 for the 24-25 school year and levy the necessary tax therefore with a projected tax levy increase of 2.95. The proposition for the election of Board of Education members, we have 2 3-year terms, presently held by Stephanie Champney and Eric Scully, and 1 2-year term, which will be up for election, which was formerly held by Thomas McGrath. The candidates are Stephanie Champney, Benny Hodkinson, and we have an open position, which could be a potential write-in candidate. The 2 candidates with the highest vote count will be awarded the 3-year term positions, and these terms will commence on July 1st, 2024. Bus proposition. A separate proposition will be placed on the ballot on May 21st, seeking voter approval to borrow money to purchase school vehicles, not electric vehicles. Shall the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District be authorized to purchase 2 new 71-passenger diesel buses and 2 new 39 diesel wheelchair buses and 1 new 7-passenger gas Chevrolet Suburban or equivalent at a cost not to exceed $885,493. And then just some information there. Did you know that the state aid reimburses the district for 90% of transportation-related expenditures? We have 52 DOT inspected vehicles in our fleet, and our buses annually travel over 560,000 miles, which is equivalent to driving from Whitney Point to Anchorage, Alaska, more than 130 times in 1 year. And while we're at it, if anybody would like to drive one of those buses.
If you're-
Now,
If you're looking
these are
for
new
more
ones,
money,
besides the 3 last year, we're gonna buy some more.
We
always
keep
have.
our rotation,
We
yes,
keep
our
them
buses
up
are
to
very
date.
heavily used, right, yes.
Okay.
Buses are inspected by the DOT inspectors, and then they say, no, you can't use this anymore.
He was a
Zach,
bus
can you-
driver back in the
Can
day.
you just explain very briefly, how we the process for how many we take from the fleet each year and how many we
Yeah.
replace them with?
Yep, so again, and there's been some changes over the years, because we used to just single trip the district, which means we had 1 run that went around and picked up all kids pre-K through 12. Since then, we now have a dual belt schedule, so the elementary school kids start later and the high school kids start earlier, so that's 2 runs. So that kind of doubled the mileage, and the wear and tear on
Is
the
that
buses.
because of the bus driver shortage?
It was originally because of the pandemic, now it's because of the bus driver shortage.
So really what that did, which is, again, a great thing, talk about trying to, figure out future, sustainability. We had 27 runs in the district for the one, trip to pick up everyone. We're now down to, 19. So again, in theory, that's 8 less drivers that we don't have to have, because again, we need them. It's not that we're not trying to hire drivers, we're actively looking everywhere we can to come in and try to train. But we've also significantly increased the rate to try to attract those. So again, for our bus fleet, we have around 50 vehicles. We try to get around 100,000 miles and 10 years of service out of them. Again, some of those might change now that we're kind of double tripping, getting more miles quicker. And honestly, a lot of times why they end up failing the DOT inspection is because of the rust. You end up getting buses that come in $20,000, $30,000 rust bolts. Where you gotta look at it, like, is it worth paying that, or do you send it to the auction and you buy a new one that we're getting our 90% maintenance? But so every year we try to get rid of, 4, 5, 6, and we try to buy, obviously, somewhat of an equal amount to sustain that. fleet.
That makes perfect
Well,
sense.
I don't have a problem with that. I've seen the rust there.
Loop around the CEA. There's a lot of employees that park there and it's very congested.
The drop off loop.
Yeah, the drop off. It seems though some of those employees,
Well, it's happening more now because we have construction all in the back. We've lost a lot of parking.
yeah, but
so
the
maybe
Catholic
that's the
Church
reason.
lets you park over there.
Yeah, we do, and they do park there.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But some of the employees that are right in the front office park there and walk.
Because it's the handicapped people that are walking in, because I'm in there almost every, like, at least once or twice a week, I'm at the school CEA.
I don't
And it
know if
can't-
they're
Yeah,
handicapped
they
or
are,
not.
they're the handicapped people, and there are foster grandparents that come in. So we have our foster grandparents that take care of our, help our school district. And they all are like in wheelchairs or walkers, and so it's usually.
Well, I heard that some of them are illegally parked. And it is very congested.
They can check.
In my case, we did, again, make an announcement that staff should not park in that.
Yeah.
But
So we'll
we'll
do
monitor
it.
it.
I mean, I haven't been paying careful attention. I know some people do park there for those reasons, but maybe more. people
Well,
don't.
handicap is a different story,
Yeah, right.
you know.
There's just not enough handicap spaces for a lot of them.
Does the school look into rust mitigation for the school buses to get them to last 2 or 3 years longer?
So every new bus we do get undercoated, whatnot, and we do have an annual contract with someone that comes in and does additional rust proofing. I don't think they do every bus every year.
Okay, maybe you need to look for somebody that's a little better.
Rough winters and rough.
Oh, I understand this.
We even tried part of this last capital project, we were trying to get a bus washer to help with that.
Yeah, but that would help, but you can have oil applied to them as well, that helps a lot. I know we
Again,
had-
open to any ideas and suggestions and
Yep.
encourage you to.
Once this new project is done, and those new classrooms are done, then there won't be any pre-K at the preschool.
There won't be any, all the 4-year-olds will be up here. We still have 3-year-olds off, that will be off-site.
I thought they were attempting to get
We're
everyone
trying to
under
get all
the
the 4-year-olds up
campus.
here. Yeah, we would have to, we have so many preschool classes, we would have to build a whole nother wing. So we've got 2 partners, Moving Point Preschool and Opportunities for Groom, that we still have 3-year-olds.
Okay.
We would love to have them all up here. It's a lot of bus time for little kids.
Yes.
Didn't
Hey,
know there's
yeah.
3-year-olds in school.
So we're grateful that they partner with us. Another partnership. Yeah, they're wonderful. No, we love them, but it's that part of it, the busing, little children on the bus for so long. We'd like,
They did make it better by making loopings
Yeah, yeah.
instead of,
yeah, that looks really nice.
yeah.
Okay, so don't forget to vote.
Show up.
Either way,
Here?
No, the cafeteria. it says.
Cafeteria's
Oh.
down that way when you walk
From
in.
1 to 8 p.m.
Oh,
Take a
and there
right.
are always signs outside to direct you to the right
Says
door.
auditorium on the vote on your pamphlet.
Oh, there we go. Well, we'll direct you. We'll have lots of signs.
Is there food?
No, that's not in the budget.
Good one, good
Mike,
one.
Mike,
Down to burn dairy, right, Jay?
if it's a Wednesday, it's $1 hamburger night.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Guys do a great job for not getting paid.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
And you
for-
get a lot of gup too.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you for putting up with
And
us.
you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting as well.
Yes,
Oh, there's more?
yes, there's.
No, this was just the budget hearing.
Oh, good
Oh,
Lord.
well, you run the school, I don't care about.
We
It's a
still
budget.
have our
Oh my
regular
gosh.
meeting.
What else is the meeting about? Put my glasses away. I'm sure you guys don't want us here anyway.
Yeah, no,
But there are bus job openings if you guys
Yeah,
are
if you
interested.
I'm disabled, over 65 and can't pass the, medical.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, Mr.
Thank you
Gilbert,
for
What's for
coming.
me?
Thank you for coming.
You don't want to drive bus?
I did it for 6 years for Groton Central School District.
He's almost 70. Can't get this. Thanks. Thanks very much. I will call the record.
I mean, he was on the board last month for the board, his wife's been sick. For the town alive. So he was able to sit in last month.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you know
Yeah.
what? We appreciate you asking for that.
Right?
Really appreciate.
So I actually live nowhere very close to farmers, that brand new house that's right there, that's my house.
I'll shake everybody's hand. Thank you for
Brand
putting
new house is right there. Yeah, thank you so much and welcome to our community, thank you. Okay, well, I heard you say you came from California, so,
A long time ago.
well, thank you for coming and staying.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but my taxes went up, they tripled, so I'm going to file a grievance. So you gotta go through the process. Yeah, they, my assessment of the like $340,000. And my house.
Yeah, I was
Which,
kind of.
which town do you live in?
Triangle.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's not, my last house was assessed at 390, and that was a 3-story, this one's a ranch, I mean, they're getting crazy. You gotta go through the process though, but good to see you, good to see you, take care, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I think they literally tripled my tax assessment.
Joanne, you did a good job.
Did a good
Thanks
job.
for coming. Have a great night.
I'll tell Jeffrey
All right.
and Amanda.
And thank you for asking
You
questions.
gotta go through the process. I mean, everyone has to.
Hey, Molly.
Sorry.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
I
have a
just,
good
if you
evening,
need more
thank you.
time, that's fine. I just,
Sorry.
no, you're fine.
So voting for the reopen BOE seats will take place with the budget vote and the bus vote on Tuesday, May 1st from 1 to 8 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. And at this time, I would like to give a date, which is not here tonight, so that would just be used to address the audience.
My name is Stephanie Champney. I've been on the Board of Education for a good chunk of time. It's a lot of work, but I passionately believe in our community and our district. And I want to make sure that we balance everything where we need to, that we balance the needs of education for our children and the needs of the community. So that's why I'm running again.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
At this time, the BOE will suspend the annual meeting and budget hearing until Tuesday, May 21st at 1 p.m., at which time the polls will be open. I will now turn the meeting over to our board president.
Okay, do we have the need for an executive session?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. So we're going to recess the public meeting at 7:24 and to have discussion on
Personnel matters.
personnel. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. May I have a second?
Second. Ms. Molly.
Okay, All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, we will be back as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Can we turn the air? Well, that's gonna be another. I remember that too. Remind us what. I'm freezing. I actually wrote a note to Zach that says my nose is cold. Because when we came in earlier to set up, I'm like, Zach, it's freezing here. Can we do something about that before we have to sit in there forever? But I think he reached out, it's not that. Awesome.
No, she could have left like everybody else. Okay, so we are going to reconvene in, oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
In there.
Okay, we're going to reconvene into public session at 7:46. No, we didn't do the pledge because you're right. Would you like to do the pledge now?
Sure.
Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I apologize for missing it. Like I said, the agenda is different than it normally is. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, this is. All right, correspondence, we have none, which brings us to our policy discussion. The first one up for discussion is animals in the school policy, 8221.
So from the last meeting, one thing is we changed it to live animals. Thank you for that input. And then also we checked on the list of breeds of dogs and we're told by the insurance company, that is the list that is not allowed.
Okay.
So if we're gonna move ahead with this policy, it would be as it is now.
Unless that
No.
breed is certified?
No.
No, okay.
There's discrimination. in breeds,
Yeah.
so-
How are you, what are your thoughts on that? I'm good with that, but personally. I'm fine. Okay. I'll take them to the nursing.
And unfortunately, I don't think we have a choice.
No,
No,
that's
it's
what,
you
know,
know, we can't,
I'll go buy. There you go.
Okay, for some reason, I just can't picture you with a chihuahua, but that's okay.
So.
okay, so if you are okay with that, then at the next meeting, we'll take it.
For second reading.
Mhm.
Okay. Is everybody in agreement with that?
And I like the little document that you made to go with it.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
That was good.
Okay, and that was all your input. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, the next one up for discussion is 7410, extracurricular activities.
So, this policy is just wrong. You know, it's 1991 that it's from. It is not a required policy. I would like to propose to the board that we discuss just eliminating it. It's not necessary, and it's bound to be wrong. Even if we created a new one, we'd end up with having to change it again.
A mishmash.
Yeah. So I would propose that we at the next meeting propose to have it removed.
So do we have something in place if the student is suspended that they can't?
In the
be?
athletic eligibility.
That's in
policy,
that,
Yeah.
okay, and then, yeah, that, and then if the students, I mean, it used to be the rule you had to be in school half a day if you wanted to do that, so you're saying we're gonna just take that away, not make that any.
It's in the
rule?
school, handbook.
Okay, okay.
Mhm. And that also gives you allowance, like if you wanted to change that policy in the future, it wouldn't be necessarily a board
Okay.
policy.
It's a procedure.
Yeah,
kind of,
mhm.
Yeah.
And I know sororities for attorneys and all those kinds of things are not quite such an issue at Winnie Point, but the issue is more like games and things like that, and that's in our other policy.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So we don't have to act on this, but if you are okay with that next meeting, we would take it to your vote. Okay.
Policies for first reading, we have none. Policies for second reading, we have none. That brings us to our first of two opportunities for comments from the public. Each speaker will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and the entire public comment period a maximum of 30 minutes. This may be waived by a majority vote of the board. The board requests that each speaker state their name, residency, and topic of discussion. By law, the board will not permit any public statements regarding individual students or employees. Please be advised that while the board takes public comment very seriously, we are not allowed to comment or respond during the meeting, as this is our opportunity to hear from our stakeholders. Items brought to the attention of the board will be taken under consideration for future responses or action, or the proper staff member will get back to you at the appropriate time. All that being said, is there anybody who would like to speak during public comments? Okay, keep in mind that there is, of course, a second opportunity at the end of the meeting. And commendations.
Okay. All right, so, do I need a mic or are we good? Okay. We would like to commend, this is the first one. Therapy Dog 607, for visiting the TRA to spend time with students in the library. The TRA Greenhouse Club for building raised garden beds with help from our grant partners at Cornell Cooperative Extension and Broome Tioga BOCES. The following high school art students for their awards, the Fine Arts Society of the Southern Tier, BCAC Juried Art Show. Lana Baxter, first place for sculpture. Addison Feathers, second place for mixed media. Valerie Barrows, for third place for sculpture. Allison Zembeck, third place for drawing, and Miley Ryder, honorable mention for sculpture. The transitional skills class for picking up garbage around the campus for Earth Day. Ms. Labar and the TRA Food Service Helpers for earning the Broome Tioga BOCES Kitchen of the Month Award. Ms. Miner, Maine Mavericks, Pony Pals, local author Melissa Chapman, and everyone involved in making Family Literacy Night a success, and particularly the ponies were a big success. They were. Mrs. Guzman, Mrs. Prokop, Dr. Whittle, and the SUNY Cortland students, high school student volunteer families, and students for a successful celebration of the Young Child event. Thank you to the Board of Education members, Mrs. Champney, for representing the Mary Wilcox Library, and Mrs. Willis for being a reader. Whitney Point High School student Zoe Hampton for earning a silver medal at the Skills USA States in banner design, representing BOCES in P-Tech engineering. The Newbery Medal winning author Jack Gantos for visiting the TRA to speak with 4th through 6th graders about writing. That's a big hit. Thank you to all the Whitney Point School District employees in honor of our annual celebration of recognition of them during this nationally recognized Teacher Appreciation Week. And as I just told them on the district faculty meeting today, we have always just had it be Staff Appreciation Week because everybody here plays their role in educating students. And so we appreciate everybody during this week. The following high school art students who competed as a team at the Feats of Clay competition in Syracuse. It's the first time we've sent a team there. On May 3rd, the team earned a tie for 4th place, finishing in the top 6 out of 31 teams in each of the 6 events. Lana Baxter, Valerie Barrows, Preston Gower, Devlin Whoopter, and Maggie Burleson all went. And if anybody's ever been or know anybody who's gone to that, it's quite a fun event. The Whitney Point PTA parents and students for a successful mother-son night held on Friday, May 3rd. And thank you to them because they had to move at the last minute because of the auction at the fairgrounds. But they did that and it all went smoothly. Whitney Point School Community Productions Director Joanne Neff and Brian Burke, and the many community members, school faculty, staff, and students, and everyone involved in the production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. The musical was performed on April 19th and 20th. The following Whitney Point student musicians for their performance. Anyway, did they get a copy of this?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so if you look, you can see how many people were involved. It's just amazing.
Is awesome.
There were 57 cast members, but who's counting?
Yeah. The person who made the
great.
costumes was
Yeah.
counting. So it was amazing, as always. It just is staggering the talent in the community.
Awesome.
Okay.
Stephanie, you made a bunch of the costumes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
All right, so the Whitney Point student musicians for their performances in NYSMA Solo and Ensemble Festival in Johnson City. Singers Caleb Crystal, Angie Smith, Chris Holcomb, Garrick Tupy, Riley Burke, Leah Griffith, David Tupy, Max Garaska, Destiny Keller, Joseph Marty, Noah Miller, Mercedes Tonkin, Remy McMine, Avery Maslin, Autumn Sherwood, Mariana Card, Faye Purdom, and Kristen McCollum. Instrumentalists, Alex Ellerson, Evelyn Lynch, Callie Irish, Riley Burke, Mackenzie Price, Asa Darty, Chris Holcomb, and Izzy Keel. Brianna Lee, Chloe Mullen, Savannah Crassley, Alexis Heath, Olivia McCullough, Valerie Rodriguez, Charlie Abbott, and Leah Griffith, Henrik Summerfield, Brooklyn Pratt, Addison Rombach, Logan Burke, Kate Thompson, Poppy Mullen, Chloe Breyer, Braden Ward. Incredible group of musicians. And the following students for their participation in the New York State Arts Association NYSADA portfolio project, all students scored as distinguished, the highest level of mastery available. Kimberly Peterson, Darcy Purdom, Alana Rowe, David Tupy, Garrick Tupy, and Devlin Wilter. Whitney Point School Board President, Vice President Dr. Whittall for earning a Level 3 Board Mastery Award from NYSBA's Board Excellence Recognition Program. And we have.
Good job, Chris.
I didn't even.
There you go.
Wow.
We have a certificate and
How
there's like a
nice.
little freebie coupon in there and a letter of recognition.
Very nice.
Thank you for your service
needed
and
one.
for your devotion, Dr.
Very
Whittall.
Thank you. I get to go to.
Yes.
Play
you-
event.
Mhm.
What? Put that on your.
As I retire.
I don't even know what it.
It
It just sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, old business, we have none. We do not have any presentations. This brings us to our consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second? Second. Thank you, Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Retirement resignation of Ellen Russell, full-time teacher's aide, effective June 30th, 2024. May I have a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you, Tom. And a second? Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments?
We are very sad to have her leave. She's an incredible person. She's an incredible paraprofessional. She's relied on unbelievably in the CEA. She's also been the president of the AIDS Association. And she'd be very missed. I'm hoping she wants to sub occasionally.
I just like to comment as well that she's this wonderful person, very, very good at what she does.
And cares deeply for the kids.
Absolutely.
Wish her the best.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Appointments, approve the 4-year probationary appointment of Destiny Gardner, elementary special education teacher in the special education teacher tenure area effective May 8th, 2024. The probationary period of May 8th, 2024 through May 7th, 2028 is tentative and conditional only, except to the extent required by the applicable provisions of section 3012 of the education law. In order to be granted tenure, the teacher must receive composite or overall annual performance review ratings pursuant to education law section 3012-D of either effective or highly effective for the required number of years. And if the teacher receives an ineffective composite or overall rating in the final year of the probationary period, the teacher shall not be eligible for tenure at that time. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second? Was that you, Molly? Thank you. Any questions or comments? Glad you got a good one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, approve the appointment of Connor Cotula, groundskeeper, effective May 9th, 2024. May I have a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you, Tom. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the 4-year probationary appointment of Rebecca Clark, school counselor, effective June 27, 2024. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second? Second. Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the appointment of Tammy Sawyering, full-time teacher's aide, effective May 9th, 2024. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the appointment of Erin D'Antonio, principal, effective July 1st, 2024. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. I believe Erin is here. Would you like to introduce yourself to the board, and do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I'm Erin D'Antonio. I'm thrilled to be here tonight, with you. I'm absolutely humbled, excited at the opportunity to be part of it. Here to serve all the hard work and all the best in the world. I would love to. Very excited. I come from, Groton. I've been doing my administration there, and prior to that, I was a learner's instructional coach and a special education. Very excited. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very exciting.
Welcome to the community.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Okay, poll clerks. Approve the following list of poll workers and rate of pay for the 2024 annual meeting for the sole purpose of the budget, school vehicle, and Board of Education member vote. Rate of pay $15 per hour. Susan Ellerson, Phyllis Edwards, Kathy Mackey, and Christine Morehouse. They have a motion? Moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly. Any questions or comments?
Same process as last year, right? So it'll be digital.
There's new voting machines.
Okay, I was just gonna ask about the voting
Yeah.
machines.
But so we used them last year,
Yep.
but now there's a new version that everybody, that's working has been trained on. Or will have been trained on.
Just
One.
will have not, but we only need 2 people to have been trained. So, and I actually myself went for the training so that I would know the ins and outs of the machines.
Wonderful.
Is it, is there a big difference for the people who are voting in terms of?
Not really, the machine is just faster, and if, say, if you vote for an extra person, or if you do something like that, it will tell you who voted for an extra person. Do you want to redo your vote, and then it will spit it back out for you, you go get a new one, or you can say, go ahead and cast it as is, and then it would.
Which means we won't
part
have
would be void.
as many ballots that end up getting rejected because,
Yeah, and it used to be sensitive to markings on there, so if you accidentally go out of line or something, it's not sensitive to that. Those are all kind of.
because the older machines, there was always that moment when you put it in and then nothing happens for a moment.
And then you hear it drop.
Yeah,
Yes, it's different from that now. It just
because
goes-
there's always that gut-wrenching moment where you think it just ate your ballot.
Yeah, it tells you that it was cast, so.
Okay, great.
They're really.
Wonderful.
And we're renting them through Rum County. Great.
Well worth the spend for accuracy and integrity of the voting system. Thank you, Stacy. How much is the county charging? I'm just curious. Might have to look
I
it up.
don't remember.
Oh,
There's-
okay.
Here, it's in my email, so I can.
How much was it last year, Zach? Do you remember?
I did not, actually thought it was free.
Probably not much.
I just
Probably not
remember it being like, it was like $75 or something, and
I honestly think it was somewhere around
Yeah.
That's so good.
Because originally, when we asked years ago, it was like, oh no, it's gonna be like $800 to use our machines.
No, I think it was.
Any other questions?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We need to approve the instructional calendar for the 24-25 school year. I have a motion. Thank you, Chris. And a second.
Second.
I heard Tom first.
Yep, go ahead.
Any questions or comments? I know it was online. I don't know if it's in my
What?
packet.
I have it right
the
here.
calendar.
I just don't have it in front of me, but, you may notice that, we have, a number of years ago, we started to do a half day at the end of the last Friday in September. We're gonna continue that. That's for emergency response training. And we moved the half day slightly because, oh, thank you. We moved the half day slightly. Traditionally, they had been in November, and that's when the elementary, teachers do, parent conferences. And that was around when their report card time is, but now they're doing trimester report cards. So we've moved the half days out a little further, so it's closer to report card time.
Trimester.
Yeah. So the, in the elementary school, they assess students, at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. And so the report cards didn't really line up with that.
Okay.
So they've moved to trimesters,
For the
and so, yep, for just
Okay.
the elementary school. And so they will do, these dates in December.
Okay.
There's never really a good time to do half days, but at least it lines up that it makes sense that they can share information with parents at that time because they will have done, the assessments at that point.
So you're talking about the 6th and the 13th.
Yes.
Okay.
And normally they would have been in November.
Gotcha.
And then the other change this coming year is the Asian Lunar New Year, which is now a required day off also. See, that is the 29th of January.
When did that become a requirement?
This is the first year. It's the first year.
This is the, we got enacted.
Yeah.
I got the day.
Oh, my goodness.
Does anybody have any questions about the instructional calendar? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We need to approve the payroll dates for the 24-25 school year. May I have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second? Is that you, Chris? Okay, any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the district holidays for the 24-25 school year. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
I heard Tom.
There's a pregnant pause, I jumped in.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? I do have a question though. Has nothing to do really with this book that does. Have schools started thinking about that June 19th date that we have? About changing the calendar? I know in the South, they've done that. They've gone to the week in August so that you don't have to worry about that holiday having school off. They started thinking about that in New York at all?
There's a lot of conversation about all of this in New York because now that they have Juneteenth and they have Asian Lunar New Year, there's lobbying for other days off during the course of the year. And then, so therefore, if we're going down this road, something has to happen to the school year. So yeah, there's a lot of conversation about.
August and March are the only 2 months that we do not have a holiday in, as a state employee.
I'm not a state employee, but I'm a bank employee. We have too many holidays off. Crazy. I'm not complaining, but it's crazy.
And I usually choose to keep the library open on them so people
Do
have
ya?
something to do.
So right now, Joanne, no decisions have been made, it's just in discussion.
Well, right, and I mean, it would have to be bigger than us because we
Right.
have contracts that do not allow,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
but.
have to follow,
Mhm.
okay.
Okay, last day of school information. Last day of school for all students pre-K through 8 will be a full day on Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. The last instructional day of school for high school students will be a full day on Monday, June 13th, 2024. Regents and final exams will be held June 4th, June 14th, June 17th, 18th, 20, and 21st, and June 24th through 26th. The last day for teachers will be on Wednesday, June 26th. The last day for the staff unit, aides and food service workers will be a full day on Tuesday, June 18th for the CEA and TRA, and Wednesday, June 25th for the high school.
So just to comment, it's June 24th, 2026 is still the Regents period. There's no exams on the 26th, so we don't, that's why you guys are here, we don't have buses that day. So the exams themselves actually end on the 25th, 26th, the reading day.
Okay. And will there be any, I guess I want to say contention? Because the CEA and TRA staff unit will be done on June 18th.
They will be, so, paraprofessionals, work, they're hourly employees and their salary, they are salaried, they're annualized on 180 days. And so for a while, we used to not have the paraprofessionals come on every conference day, so that in the end, sometimes they ended up owing days and they would have to stay the week after to make sure they had 180 days, because normally we have snow days. This is the bizarre year where we didn't do snow days. So because we now have them work the conference days as a cushion, so they make sure they get their days in, now they had too many days. So they're finishing the same time the students are.
Okay,
They'll
but
have
what about the high school?
They'll have 100, it's just the paraprofessionals, the aides. The high school aides are working longer, they get paid extra.
Okay, got it.
And because the high school students are still here.
Gotcha, okay. So it's not, nobody is losing any
No.
income because they're,
And bus drivers and monitors also are the same thing. They're on a 180-day schedule, and so they're working a couple of extra.
okay.
So it's a very unusual situation. Normally we're stressed because we don't have enough days, and this year, for some reason,
And so graduation will be on the
the graduation is on Friday night.
The
So there's a
26th?
gap. Yep.
Okay.
That was gonna, the 28th is the 26th is a Wednesday.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wait.
So the 26th is a
28th is
Wednesday,
graduation.
that's when school ends, and this happened, I don't know, like 8 years ago or so. And then we don't have graduation until Friday night. And we decided this last year, we saw ahead in the calendar, we can't have graduation on a Wednesday night. You know, family comes into town, so people just
Yep.
come back after Friday.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be any inequity that either the TRA and CEA staff would be losing money.
No, but
And-
the only concern that was raised was, a neighboring BOCES, I don't know if you may know this, just closed a bunch of extra days. And our region did not do that. And we all have to be in agreement in our region, and
Yeah.
that's a pretty unorthodox thing. Again, it's not something that happens. Usually we're worried about having enough days, but they just added up like a bunch of days off, Memorial Day weekend, so there's like 5 days off. And they called them give back days, so the entire school shuts down those days.
Thank you. Okay, equipment for disposal, through Val and Son Manassi Auctioneers. Item up for auction is a Schumacher piano. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom.
My milk can get spoiled in my car.
So is the new one coming?
Yep, we placed the order about a month ago, so we had to make room for the new one. Right now, the old one was in the storage area. Again, full disclosure, the big auction we had this past weekend, we kind of thought that was the opportune time to put that piano to the auction. Get bids, but it did sell, so we were happy for that, because otherwise we'd have to try to figure out how to get rid of the piano.
Well, there you go.
So it worked out okay.
Gardner Sharp sticking you.
And grand pianos are a little hard to buy.
Yeah, yep, it was taking up a lot of storage
At,
space. That
at
was-
least it's a baby grand and not a concert grand.
I'll tell you, the music department has been lobbying for this piano for a very long time.
Yay.
They're pretty good.
Unfortunately, the old one turned out to be a poor choice.
Yep, you never quite know, but again, we even tried asking the piano tuners if they would be interested in it. They wanted nothing to do with it.
So that tells us how fun it is.
Although I will admit that I wish I'd been able to bid on it because you could have built a lot of really cool things out of it.
Just have to move it. That's the problem.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I could just roll it down the street, right? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Agreement dated April 17th, 2024 between Margaret Bobier and Whitney Point Central School District regarding an extension of the probationary period B, and the same is hereby approved.
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second? Thank you, Molly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Superintendent's update.
Just a couple of things, just to put it on your radar, you may know, that especially if you were with us last summer, we were looking at, concerns about things that were getting in the way of student achievement, especially at the secondary level. There's a couple of things that we've had, very high on our priority list. One of them is, issues with vaping, and the other one is, phone use. So, vaping, we've had some people come in to work with our students if they are caught vaping, trying to be sort of positive and help them deal with their addiction. They have had a group of students who have been involved with that, and actually they put together a presentation to share with other schools about trying to dissuade younger students from starting, because they're saying that that's when they started, when they were like in middle school, and that it's just so highly addictive that they can't let go. So that's been a positive thing. And we also, on the more punitive side, maybe, we have installed vape detectors all throughout the bathrooms, because we also have we have to make sure that our bathrooms are safe and that kids can go in there without feeling like people are vaping, or so we've been really tightening things up there. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that, but we're also, like I said, trying to combine that with education, and then most importantly, stop it before kids start. And then the other piece is that there has been some press you may have seen about this product called Yonder. So I think that we're going to go in that direction. And what that means is that next year, students will be assigned one of these Yonder packs. It's like a pouch. And they come into school, because a lot of this, it's a $700, $800 phone. They don't want to give it up. Families don't want us to take the phones away, and families honestly don't want to prohibit their kids from having them. It is such a draw for kids' attention all day. So everybody gets assigned a Yonder pack. You put your phone into that, and then as you enter school, there's like a magnet where you lock the phone all day. So you have it with you. So nowhere's taking your phone away. It's your property, but you cannot use it. And kids just know they can't use it until it's time to leave for the day. We're going to need to obviously do a big campaign to let families know that's going to be the case. They can still, as they always did before phones, contact the school if they want to contact their child. They can actually email their child, because all kids have a Chromebook that they can use. But which we do not have social media on our Chromebooks or anything like that, the kind of stuff that's drawing kids. But I hate to think a product is gonna be an answer, but in schools where they've done it, they said it's made a huge difference.
Joanne, do you know what, any surrounding school districts that have used that?
In our close region, there's only a number of us are thinking they're gonna do this. Like Tioga is gonna do it, Maine Animal's considering doing it, Vestal's considering doing it, but nobody's done it in our region. It's
Okay.
larger than us.
Right.
Um,
I've heard about it in
Yeah.
bigger areas, but I didn't know if there
Yeah.
were any surrounding districts that have actually done it. I was curious what I would be curious to know what the parents thought of this.
well, I mean, more and
Like
more.
you said about the
It's a
campaign.
I mean, there are gonna be people who are gonna be upset.
Right.
But more and more parents are saying, they're telling us that we had a parent here that parent wasn't saying, don't take your phone to school, but they were mad at us for not doing something about it
Right.
because kids do sneak it. I mean,
Sure.
even though they're not supposed to have it.
Yeah.
So they want us to do something because they
Right.
know it's a
Yeah.
problem. And like I said, there's still ways to contact your child. We're not,
Absolutely.
so that, so there may be a little bit of an uphill battle.
So it's been decided that we will.
Well, we have not made the purchase yet. I would tell you that all the buildings are very much in favor. It also brings the teachers out of that battleground.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, which has been a problem. And we tried different things. We tried the pouches in the classroom.
we
and
tried
the
everything.
kids, they don't want to do that. So
Right. So I would be interested to know the cost related to this. And the accountability, these kids, they're gonna be assigned one of these yonder packs at the
Yeah.
beginning of the school year. And then we wanna make sure that they give it back, so, if they don't,
But it stays in the school after they get.
well,
their
that's
phone
what
back.
that's what, yeah, I see Shannon shaking her head. Probably decisions, I'm probably jumping the gun, putting the cart before the horse here. So I won't.
well, you're not,
And I'm sure we'll do a presentation
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
I would recommend going to the Yonder site,
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
YNDR.
Yeah,
And one of the things that Joanne and I were able to see, looking at a webinar, was districts who had implemented, talked about things that didn't work. Places where we had to make accommodations to help students. They were talking about students who use their cell phone for diabetes.
yes.
And so it's on their IEP, so the kid still gets a pouch, but it doesn't matter.
Wow.
So there were lots of things like that. I mean, everything wasn't discussed, but one of the really big things about this company is that they put a majority of their energy into implementation, into talking to families, into talking to teachers, and then the pouch is after.
Almost like an education before the actual implementation. I love it. I think you guys did everything you could to try to implement a better process for phone use. Well, there was some success. It wasn't enough to see the impact overall. So I am a huge proponent of this. I've heard about it, like I said, in bigger school districts. So I applaud you for taking the initiative to understand that this still continues to be an issue in our school district and it's causing teachers not to be able to teach. And that's why they're here, right? To get a good education.
Right.
And we can't do that if they're playing with their phones.
And it's not like, kids will tell you that they can't not look.
Right.
They have,
They're
it's
drawn
like,
to it.
yes.
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, I'll check out the website, but if it locked. Is there anything that stops them from doing it while they're in the school?
It's locked. I mean, they have to have somebody like it's a magnet thing. They have to get, I'm sure there's gonna be kids who are gonna figure out workarounds, but
So it's like the security tags in
When
in
you go to a
stores.
concert,
Yeah.
they do it now at concerts. You
Yes.
put your phone in because they don't want people taking pictures. It's one of the bags, like if you not really.
I
go
mean, what
anywhere,
if a
but
teacher was
you
deciding
can't-
they were
you
doing a
can't split it
project-based
open.
learning activity and they wanted to let students use their phones? Or
They can
something
do
like
whatever
that.
they can do with their phone.
Thank you, Shannon.
no, so there are, no, so Krista, it is, there are some things, yes, but it is much more of a problem than it is a benefit at this point. And so, yeah, I mean, yes, the Chromebook is not the same, doesn't have the same versatility, but it is such a distraction.
It is.
So
really
maybe
is.
we can get, as we think about this, get a set
But
of
we have
smaller
iPads and
iPads.
things, yeah.
I know we have some bigger ones, but maybe some smaller ones, things like that, that can be used for like project-based learning, things like that. And, those kinds of things.
Well, I'm excited to hear that you guys have moved to another direction. Because the one we were doing wasn't working. So thank you. I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited about the vaping. Just not the fact that, you know, there's some education going on. It's an addiction and I'm happy to hear some kids are partaking in the presentations and helping other kids. And not happy about the vape detectors, but real quick, were those installed and all the bathrooms are ready or is it in process?
Are they all done in the TRA? You know, who knows, who's up there on the vape?
I was just curious.
I
Are
think
in
they are.
all the
They're all up
bathrooms?
here.
All the bathrooms?
All the ones up
All the bathrooms?
All of them except for the single stall. Right.
I don't think you're the CEA,
Not in the CEA.
the
No.
TRA.
I heard Tom, he's like, oh, I heard him. I know what you mean though, Tom.
Yeah.
How come not in the single, not needed? Okay, oh,
I mean,
okay, all right.
you only have one person coming in and out. You
Fair
don't.
enough, but I don't know if no one's watching the bathroom. I hear what you're saying, cause I'm not here to see, do you watch who goes in the bathroom and comes out and then there's a big
Well-
cup of smoke? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, to be completely frank, I mean, these things are very expensive. just so
The
you know.
detectors,
Yes.
yes.
And, one of the biggest reasons that we went to, because literally kids felt unsafe.
No, I heard
and
about
They couldn't
that.
go to the bathroom.
So I, growing up,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this before.
Mhm.
I was in a big, huge school. I had all kinds of classes. I would have to go all the way to the basement to use, the bathroom that was in the locker rooms. Because I refused to go in where
Yeah.
people were smoking.
Okay,
No,
good.
it was
Okay.
smoked everything. It was like, this. And that's back when you went by, so this was my question, I guess I'll ask it directly. It was also in the days when you went by the teachers' rooms that smoke was puffing under the door like crazy too, that you wanna go in. So I mean, are these gonna be,
Good point.
if it's not allowable for students, it is not allowed for staff, are they in all the bathrooms of staff? Like, nobody should be vaping in the school, period.
I hear what you're
Yeah. They are not in the single stall bathrooms. And, you know, mostly like I said, that was like it's a very expensive proposition. So we did.
No, but it's just when
Well,
you
I
leave
mean-
a hole, that's where the hole will be. I'm just saying, I'm not saying we should go crazy and try to
Yeah.
do it everywhere, but it'll be learned real quick that that's the one where they don't have it, and that's where.
They really like to do it together, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't
I
it
know,
alarm
but if-
you?
Themselves.
Yeah.
Together is
Okay.
together, but
It's
alone,
loud.
alone is then the next step that was like, I'm just saying it's gonna go to the least, the smallest, the weakest point, I'm sorry.
No, that would make an excellent point.
Yeah.
And we've also, there's also some other provisions that have been put in place, but that, to sort of track when kids are going. Just, you know, again, everybody should be able to go to the bathroom whenever they need to go to the bathroom.
Sure.
But some kids were going 50 times a day, you know.
Right, well, we know that they're, yeah.
That's when you know there's something other than
So we're, you'll have to excuse my ignorance on this, but when was the time in between classes for the high school reduced? Was that this year that was because, and why was that? Is that to reduce the problems going on in the restrooms? Because can that be taken back to the original time? I mean, that's really difficult for kids to have time to use the bathroom, especially if they've got classes, you know, one end of the building to the other. I mean, even my boys have trouble, and as a girl in high school,
Right.
everybody knows girls have different issues, and maybe they have to use the restroom, you know, so they just say, well, we just get in class and we have to ask to go. It just seems disruptive to class time if they don't have time to use the bathroom. And it's not healthy. And a lot of kids maybe hold it when they shouldn't. I mean, let's just face it.
Yeah, well, so I mean, it's a conversation we can certainly have, but I can tell you there were a lot of problems in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so in the longer time in between periods, you know, kids were saying they didn't want to go in there because they didn't feel it was
safe.
vaping and hanging out and doing all sorts of things. And we've been, you know, trying to police that as much as possible. And but also kids don't want adults coming into the bathroom to say, come on, let's
Right.
go. And
Right.
it's
They want
a
their time.
difficult problem. So we can certainly talk with the high school administration, but kids are, you know, managing, and
We had more I mean, some of them who want to do what they want to do are not happy about that, but other kids are telling us they feel much better.
Really?
Yeah,
And what is
so-
it again, 2.5 minutes between class?
3 minutes.
Oh, it's 3 minutes,
Yeah.
okay, and it was?
4.
Okay, so they have 3 minutes
Mhm.
and you've received some positive comments.
Yeah, and that the bathrooms are better. and
Really?
safer.
Okay, that's a good sign.
And, you know, I mean, it's
It's not perfect,
perfect,
right?
no?
It's not, but we're making progress.
Yeah.
Progress is important.
Yep.
Well,
We can certainly
kudos.
talk about the passing time, but I can tell you that that was the reason. I mean, because when the
4 minutes is kind of a lot. We had 3 back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, sorry, just understanding. That's good comment. Bob.
Yeah, Molly, I appreciate it.
Good
Any
stuff.
other- no.
Good stuff. Thank you,
Okay.
Joanne. Great update. Thank you. That's really good news. Happy to hear.
Okay, that brings us to the second opportunity for the comments from the public. Is there anybody who would like to take advantage of this time? Again, the same things I read the first one pertain to the second one as well. Okay. So we have some Board of Education comments, and I have some things written in here. First of all, I had meant to have something typed up for you guys, but life didn't cooperate regarding creating a more solid system of onboarding new board members, which obviously we're going to have at least one, possibly two. So Molly has given me some great ideas. Stacy also found some information from NISMA that I can look through and bring back to you guys for the onboarding. Some of the things that Molly suggested was creating like a work session before the first meeting in order to go over the agenda, the flow of the meeting, going again, you know, like what you can talk about in public session, what you can't, and all of that. Having a meet and greet with the other board members and obviously the district office, but also include in there the administrators from the other buildings, because as Molly pointed out, if you don't have a child in that building, you may not know who the administrators are. Going over how how things can be put on the agenda and how the agenda is developed. And I'm sure I will have more suggestions once we do that, but I would like to hopefully before our next meeting have a little more of a framework written up so that we can review it, and obviously, you know, suggestions are more than welcome.
So Stacy, these two, I'll pass these down because I know it's been a while since you probably saw these. But these, if you want to take a look at those and just give back to me, there's some really good ideas in there to piggyback what
I
Molly.
think that I have them,
Okay.
but I will check at home first.
Okay,
and get
yeah,
them back
because
to you.
there is some good stuff in there, and I know when I became a new school board member, I think the biggest thing for me was just not understanding the process.
Yep.
And then having a nice meet and greet and knowing how long you guys all been on the board, and hey, any tips and tricks you could share with me? What can you and can't you say out in public?
Right,
How
and
to- how to
some of this will
interact.
have to be as a work session.
Right, okay,
But like the meet and greet, we can definitely do is not a work session.
right, yeah,
Just so that it's more informal,
sure.
you know. Maybe I can make some arrangements for some refreshments. and-
Yeah, I think that would be, it's just more of a welcoming
Yeah,
welcome, not, here's your first board meeting, I didn't even know if I could
No.
talk or what I
yeah,
could
no,
say.
no, and I agree. And the problem is that the first meeting most
Exactly.
board members get to participate in is the worst meeting for them to participate in.
Yes, fair
Which
enough,
is, the reorg meeting, and
Okay.
because there's so much, I know.
it's so confusing.
But that is also something that we can go over in a work session beforehand, like, because that is a meeting in and of itself. Just like doing the public hearing for the budget is very different than what we normally do. So please continue to send me,
Okay.
some suggestions. I'm not trying to do this on my own, but instead of all of us trying to create a new wheel, if there's one person pulling everything together, I think it'll be a little more efficient.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you for
We also-
taking all
Can I
that
ask
into
a question?
consideration.
sure.
Is there, when, there's the workshop for candidates who are running for the board?
The potential board new
At
board
BOCES.
members at BOCES.
Is there like a presentation or does somebody have a copy of that? so
I
that
can
we-
get it from.
Yeah, that'd be great, just to know what it is
It's like,
you
from-
learned there.
from,
and then-
yeah, the last couple of people who participated, like Eric said that
My email.
it was good information, but it still wasn't enough to really get you ready
started.
to, because again, the first meeting is the reorg meeting.
Yeah.
It's like the worst one to have to try to parse out.
Molly has it here if you want to take hers and give it
loose.
back. It's loose. I have mine at home too.
Here, I
It's-
got a.
I can grab it from Mark, he'll give it to me.
Yeah, he'll just send us, he'll send us,
Mark will send it to me
It's just a bit of a high level and
Oh,
it is good, but the problem with that is it doesn't give you enough to like really understand the process.
right.
Which these books though are phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, I love all of these, how to interact, how to talk, you know, how to email people.
I think that must have been the first.
Yeah, my first board, and I refer to them a lot. What's
Yep.
the proper chain of command? What can you and can't you say, you know?
Right, but as much as those are great, it doesn't supplant us talking with the new
No,
candidates.
right.
Because sometimes what you read is hard to put into action.
Yes.
So that's why I want to do it more hands-on with
Mhm.
all of us and, it's been something I've been wanting to do for years,
Yeah.
but you know, for a while, we didn't have any new board members. And
Yeah.
prior to that, when I
Yeah.
was vice president, the president kept saying, yep, we'll do it, we'll do it, we'll do it. We even, the two of us even went to a conference about it. But it never, she's like, yep, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. So I'm really trying to make a focus so
No, we
that
appreciate it.
at the very least, for the new candidates this year, we have something.
Yes,
And it may still, and it's gonna have to be a living document
right,
because things change.
right. No, I
Um,
think it's nice that you're doing that and it'll make whoever feel more welcome.
And
it will
also
make a
maybe it'll
difference.
make you guys feel better because there may be something that comes up that you haven't experienced yet either. So,
I think it looks really good.
you know, but it, like, even if something does come up in the next year or so, send me an email. And so that we can include it in, because it's impossible to think of everything.
No,
right.
you're right, yeah. No, I think that's a really good start, there's something. Sorry.
Okay, board retreat discussion. We are going to have a board retreat this summer.
Yay.
I am requesting,
I know, I remember, I still
It
like
ain't no
them.
party, Tiana.
I know,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah, I
actually, I know, we really should change the name because it sounds like it's fun, it's not, but it is informative and it's,
Yeah.
it's good. It's
yeah,
good
just in
team
case, for
building.
those of you who
I'll
don't
make
know,
them.
our board retreats consists of
Coming
being in the
here.
high school library.
Right,
for a
right,
day.
it's
Um,
team building.
So the last couple of years, we've tried doing 2 evening ones. I don't feel that those are as effective. Partially because it's like, we just start getting into the groove in it,
And then we have to leave.
and then we have to leave. And so I'd like to request that we try to do it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
If everybody could please send me dates that you are absolutely not available,
Okay, not available.
or either way, you can send me 2 lists. You can send me the dates that you absolutely know you're not available. And then you can send me a list of the things that you're pretty sure you can be available, and we'll try to.
They try to do it in July.
I was just gonna ask what month,
Yeah, they try to
so July,
try, yeah.
Tom, when are you on vacation in
Bless
July or
you.
August?
I think it's July,
Okay,
any
So-
Saturday.
so if you guys send that all of that to me, I can make up a calendar and show who's available when.
Okay,
And I'm assuming we'll.
oh, and how many hours, Stephanie?
In the past, we've done 6 to 7. We've
And we
usually,
eat too there, right?
I'm
Yeah.
available any Saturday.
okay, so we'll start looking.
Should we do
Just saying, I work on 2 of them.
Okay, so we'll start looking at August.
August? Okay,
Um,
thanks, Tom, I really didn't like July.
what we've done in the past for,
week of August?
Tom's a busybody.
She's
So
looking at
Tom,
your
tell
calendar.
So Tom,
got
tell
your
me your
calendar.
dates, the
Summer,
10th and the
summer is
17th.
when we do programs.
Actually, the
for
10th
families.
and the 17th. Check and see if you're available on August
I
10th
can do. no, that-
or 17th.
I can do the 10th, I cannot do the 17th.
Okay, the 10th might be available for me too. I'm gonna double check though.
She can
Okay.
trust you, Tom.
I love it, Tom. She
She can
took your
trust you. She wants to
calendar.
look herself.
I was looking for the date.
I love it.
I couldn't see that.
No, I
That's what
love
it looked like. Are you sure you're?
That's my
All right,
date.
all right. So what we've done in the past on the Saturdays, we've started at 8:30 with light refreshments so everybody can get there and, you know, pick where you want to sit and all that. Then we've started in earnest at 9. Joanna's very good at scheduling in breaks, with just getting up and walking around or using the bathroom. You know,
No
We just,
puffing.
we just have a good
No.
day. We have
Yeah,
a good day.
It is a
and,
good day.
lunch will be supplied if I have my choice. Stacy
City
will be
chicken.
picking up
You
city
love the
chicken.
city chicken.
It's the only
It's
time.
so,
I
it's the
ever
only time I get it
It's
too,
not milk
Stacy.
eating bad in the
The last
car.
time I had it was at a
I got
board
milk
retreat.
eating bad in the car.
So anyway, so now that we know Tom is only available on August. 10th
August
until-
10th or 17th.
I'm not available on the.
Oh, that's right.
17th,
We said August 10th. Everyone check your calendars.
So
August
everybody
10th.
check August 10th. That was the easiest one ever. I'm supposed to
Are
be,
we
on-
sending you a message that we're good on August 10th, Stephanie? Okay.
yes, please do. The last thing is, we are fast approaching our deadline for having our, board evaluation
yeah.
done. And as soon as we
My
get our board
percentage.
evaluation done, we need to move into the superintendent evaluation.
Yeah, when do you want us to have ours done? Cause I see Chris's.
I'm done.
You finished it up today?
I finished it
She's
already.
been done.
Oh, you have? I'm excited.
I just have to add comments
Oh,
and places.
biscuits. I'm not quite done yet.
That's okay. So today is,
Tom needs help. No. Tom-
That's the biggest understatement.
No, but, when do you want us to have it done by for real? So today is Tuesday. Do you want it done by Friday?
Done by the last Friday of the month.
Give me a deadline, cause everything's about deadlines.
Stacey, I think you have the dates someplace.
I have them someplace. I will look them up and send them out, but realistically, I think we should have the self-evaluation done by the end of next week.
All right, which is what day? What's the end of next week?
I got it.
17th.
Okay, due by 5/17. Okay,
And do you have your stuff all entered in? If you want, you can also start working on the superintendent evaluation. We should have that one done absolutely no later.
yeah, in the same setup. I get confused on
It
this.
is, it is.
I just
Yeah.
switched the tab.
But
Okay.
it's not ready yet. She's got
No,
it
she
finished.
said it is.
I'm finished. I just haven't hit submit.
She hasn't submitted.
Oh,
But
okay.
does it appear then?
I didn't see it the last time I
but-
checked.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say though, even though, I didn't do well last year on this, I really like the electronic version. It's much easier.
One thing to keep in mind, our goals were not very well developed for this year.
Right.
We got sidetracked a lot in the fall and in the summer. And hopefully Chris is going to be able to help us make our goals smart goals,
Yes.
in which case it will make,
It's not so dumb. Well, Chris, what you
No,
sent
but-
us a month ago, I like what you put on there.
Yeah, we'll just look at everything once we get.
I like everything you put there. It all makes sense. It's it's specific, what is it? Specific, measurable, attainable, timely, all that good stuff. So I like that, cause in the past, has the board posted their goals for the public to
yes,
see?
we have. We did not this year because to be honest with you, we did not fully develop them, but they were in the minutes.
Correct.
Yes.
They were in the
Correct.
Yeah,
There
they
was-
were in the minutes,
all
but
right.
we have also put them on the website under the Board of Education
Oh,
tab.
I will find it.
We
No, I know, but like I said, we did not do that this year.
Right.
We used to.
Right.
But we have in
Right.
the past. But again, our goals were not very well developed this year.
No.
And then we also used to have like a place on the agenda where you check in on your goals every meeting.
I think that's a really good idea.
Just, it's a pulse check. How are you doing? Are you behind? Are you on track? Are you ahead of schedule? Let's have a party. Put it in the budget. I mean, they wanted us to serve snacks and it's on the budget.
They recommend doing it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea.
So
Okay.
when did you say that we need to have the
Next,
the super?
oh, we didn't.
I would
the
say
super
absolutely
starting to
drop dead
say-
date, we have to submit it by the 31st of this month.
5/31.
We then have to compile it, and then I have to go over it with you guys.
Yep.
And then I have to give it to Joanne.
And is that timely? If we do it all in those steps, is that timely, Joanne?
I think so. We need to do it before the end of the school year, but we
Right,
have
I just wanna make
yeah.
sure we are within a timeline that's reasonable and fair to her.
It's a little later than Chris and I had wanted to do it,
Okay.
but to be honest with you, we've never had it done on time in the past several years.
You're supposed to get it done between what we.
Right,
You are.
yes.
Oh.
But
Because it's supposed to be,
That's
done-
July.
that's supposed to be the board.
Okay.
Effective date.
right,
That
so
is not-
So Eric would still be doing it even though it's not on.
Okay,
right, so if everybody can focus on that some.
Yeah.
And Tom, if you do need,
It won't be the 7th.
but if Tom, how about this? If Tom just take, I mean, this is really what it is. If Tom
I
did
have a
it,
paper copy.
if he,
This weekend is another.
I know, but
but the paper, I mean, and then we can just have it put in. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
no, we-
sometimes it's easier, people have paper.
I
I
have a
don't know,
paper
just trying to help you out, Tom. I
Okay.
know.
Well, I can do it. This wasn't at the meeting. So,
Yeah.
I've heard the date today, so that's-
I did try to email it out to everybody, but it's come to my attention that nobody got it, even though it shows up in my sent folder.
You emailed what?
The timeline for the
Oh.
evaluations,
That's weird.
but
No,
it's,
but you did mention in our last meeting
Yep.
that you wanted it done. I wrote it down, but I knew it wasn't due today, but I knew it was coming
yeah,
up.
so,
I would say,
I didn't get
I've
anything.
got it. I've got it.
but everybody else, I told everybody
did?
didn't get it, so, anyway.
Molly didn't get it either, but that's okay.
Okay, that's what I've got. Chris is worried about her milk in the car,
All right.
so
Got milk in the car?
does any board of,
serious?
It's spoiled.
3 hours.
It's
You
nasty.
could have brought it in.
It's-
Joanne
I'm
got a
freezing.
refrigerator in your office. Sorry.
okay,
We're looped.
yeah, we're gonna have to separate the two of you, okay? Or maybe it's just because we're in the auditorium.
If you put me near anyone, they'll still have fun.
I do have one small request, for possibly for the board retreat, but maybe some other time. I know we all have been really talking about, how the school district has worked on behavior management. And I was wondering if at some point, maybe in the next 3 to 4 months, or maybe for the board retreat, could we see maybe a 5-year, maybe 4-year window? Because I know COVID dates are gonna be kind of weird. What we had and where we have come and how we're moving with, like, just numbers, suspensions, detentions, things like that. So that we as a board can just see where we're going. I've heard of a lot of school districts being concerned about some of the ways suspensions are being done, and so I just would like to see what we're doing.
Anything else? No? Okay. Do we have a need of another executive session?
Oh, good. I mean, I haven't even eaten dinner. I don't like Chris.
Okay, we are going to adjourn the public meeting at 8:50. May I have a motion?
Second. Nope, I'm not waiting for Tom.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Damn, I forgot to ask something.
I'm just-
What?